What's going on, folks? And thank you for tuning in with me to another edition of the True Capitalist Radio broadcast. And, of course, I am your host, the man they call Ghost. And once again, folks, I want to thank you very much for tuning in with me. This is episode number 598. Episode number 598 for all the folks that are keeping track of the True Capitalist Radio broadcast. And before we get into anything else, I'd like to ask everybody to please spread this show link around like wildfire, all right? And let everybody out there on the internet and throughout the world, let them all know that True Capitalist Radio is in effect and in the house. And we are live every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, 6:30 p.m. Central Standard Time, right here on the official website of the True Capitalist Radio broadcast. And it is, and I love being independent now, especially in this day and age of censorship by the Silicon Valley oligarchs. You can find the True Capitalist Radio broadcast's official website by typing in your browser the following, ghost.report. All right, that's as simple as that. Just type that in your browser, add that to your bookmarks, add that to your favorites. Ghost.report is the official website of the True Capitalist Radio broadcast. And I want to say what's going on to everybody who is in the True Capitalist Radio chat room. What's going on, baby? I see you in there. Let me tell you, let me go ahead and give some shout-outs to everybody who's already in the True Capitalist Radio chat room listening to the show. What's going on to Australian Capitalist, Eagle Cox in the house, Black Star Tri, Capitalist America, Cyber Necro, Distilling in the house, El Sereno, who else do we have here? Chalice in the house, Hambone Capitalist, Herb in the place, Hoodie in the house, Man Bear Pig in the place, Norwegian Stagio in the house. Thank you all very much for listening in. What's going on? If you want to be a part of the True Capitalist Radio chat room, what's going on to Fly on the Wall? How you doing? What's up to Black Star? What's up to Bro Dog? If you want to be a part of the action, if you want to be a part of the True Capitalist Radio chat room, then follow these simple instructions, okay? All you got to do is go right now to my Gab account. That's my only social media representation on the internet. If they're saying that anywhere else, on all these dumbass social media, if they say it's me, it's a lie. I only Gab, folks. That's all I do. I only Gab. And you can follow me on Gab. As a matter of fact, if you don't know where to go to get to Gab, type the following in your browser so you can get yourself a free Gab account. It's the last bastion of freedom of speech on the internet today. And you can type in your browser the following, gab.ai. That's gab.ai. And you can follow me in that social media under the name Politics Ghost, okay? All one word, no underscores. Politics Ghost is the name to follow. And by the way, if you want to be a part of the True Capitalist Radio chat room, go to my Gab and click the subscribe button. There's a little subscribe button right there that says for premium content. Click the subscribe button for the premium content, and once you do that, private message me on Gab and let me know your Discord chat name, and I will give you a private invitation to the True Capitalist Radio chat room. It's that damn simple. Now that we've gotten all that out of the way, let's just go ahead and get right into the nitty-gritty. It is Monday, and I hope that you don't have a bad case of the Mondays. Let's just put it that way. We're going to get right into something before we get into the crypto and the stock market coverage. I want to talk a little bit about Isaac Cappy. And if you're unfamiliar with what this gentleman's name is, folks, this is the gentleman that we were talking about last week. As a matter of fact, I think it may have been 2 weeks ago, in which one of the Capitalist Army members actually had a direct message, a DM, a direct message conversation via Twitter with Isaac Cappy. This is way before he became public. And he was exposing and divulging a lot of information, all the inside sick pedo workings of the child trafficking network that is within Hollywood, California. Now, we talked about it. We also brought in a member of the Capitalist Army to discuss what exact conversation that he had in this DM. And we talked about it on that show, that the Capitalist Army member that was talking to Mr. Isaac Cappy himself got banned in the midst of a direct message. Now, Isaac Cappy makes reference to this in several different instances when he's either been putting out a video or interviewed. He has made reference to this, that he was in the midst of a direct message with somebody and they got banned. And he makes reference to this several times. Now, he's gone public. Isaac Cappy has gone public. Now, for you folks that are unfamiliar with what I'm talking about, Isaac Cappy is a kind of a B-rated actor, kind of an extra, if you will. Obviously a working actor within Hollywood, California, that finally came out and started naming names, started name-dropping actual names related to the pedophilia, the rampant child sex trafficking that is been alleged in Hollywood for many decades now. Now, he's dropped names that we are unfamiliar with. When we talked about this on the broadcast, I guess a couple of weeks ago, the Capitalist Army member that was having the direct message with Cappy suggested that Cappy alluded, or actually directly said, that actor Seth Green and his wife allegedly run one of the bigger trafficking rings within Hollywood, California. And moreover, folks, he started dropping names during that conversation, but he has come out here recently. He has done periscopes, he's done some interviews, and he's named names, folks. He's talking about Tom Hanks. According to Isaac Cappy, allegedly he is a pedophile. He's dropped names like Steven Spielberg, according to Isaac Cappy, allegedly a pedophile. He talks about how Stephen Colbert, according to Isaac Cappy, allegedly a pedophile, and I'm talking about Cappy, tells everyone listening to look into the close-knit relationship between Stephen Colbert and one John Podesta. Oh, man, we know that name. We know that fucking name when it comes to Pizzagate and all kinds of sick, nefarious stuff that's been going around on the internet ever since 2016. He's dropping major names, folks, all right? And the bottom line is that all this came out, the reason that Cappy came out with this is because of the James Gunn, the director of the Guardians of the Galaxy, this denial, this suggestion that the things that he was saying on Twitter were pedo jokes or pedophilia jokes or whatever the case might be. Now, as you can see, folks, everyone in Hollywood is absolutely trying to suppress this from getting out. Moreover, you've actually got the cast members of the Guardians of the Galaxy suggesting and protesting that James Gunn should continue to work as the director of the movie. You've actually got a petition of fans, believe it or not, that have put out a petition with almost 300,000 signatures suggesting that this asshole, this director, James Gunn, be allowed to continue to direct the Guardians of the Galaxy, even though he thinks pedophilia is an absolute joke. I mean, don't you find that ironic, folks? And I continue to say this, but it bears repeating. How ironic, the left. They want to chastise you if you make some kind of politically incorrect joke or some joke that triggers some two-bit snowflake, for Christ's sake. If you have any kind of humor with any kind of racial overtones, all you have is autistic screeching, for Christ's sake. Whee! But by God, it's perfectly okay with the left, perfectly okay with Democrats, perfectly okay with everyone on that side if you kid around about pedophilia or baby rape, for that matter. That's another thing that we were talking about in this same conversation. The creator of the popular man-child cartoon, Rick and Morty, okay, that's the cartoon name, Rick and Morty, the creator of it, Dan Harmon, there's been some videos that have been unearthed on some of his past in which you actually had this Dan Harmon guy, the guy who's creating this Rick and Morty cartoon that all these man-children are infatuated with, simulating baby rape on a baby doll. And I'm not saying this is animated. This is him. This is the guy, Dan Harmon. Back when he was younger and looked a little more nuttier, if you want my opinion, he actually dropped trowel on camera and simulated baby rape on a baby doll and actually put this out for public consumption thinking that this was humorous, thinking that this was funny. And I'm telling you folks, the reason that it's okay to make, at least in the leftist eyes, at least in the Democrats' eyes, at least in the Hollywood's eyes, the reason it's okay to make fun of pedophiles or do pedophile jokes or baby rape is because that's what these people are doing in their private lives, mostly. And secondly, that's what they want to be the norm. I mean, if you don't believe me, folks, take a look at the sexualization of children. And where is that coming from? In what direction is the open sexualization of children coming from? It's coming directly from the left, for Christ's sake. And it doesn't matter what variant of the left it is, it's coming from the left. And I think people need to open up their eyes and realize that in this election, 2018, it is just as important as the 2016 elections, and if we don't take it serious, we may see the Democrats not only take power in some regard in this Congress, but by God, if they get any kind of leeway and get some kind of wild card and win 2020 presidential elections, folks, everything that we built, all the things that we did in 2016, all the Make America Great Again policies was for naught. And I'm telling you right now, when it comes to the 2018 elections, it's as simple as this. If you're pro-pedophile, if you're pro-illegal immigrant, if you're pro-criminal, well then go ahead and vote for the Democrats. But by God, if you want some, just at least a slight bit of instilling of some morality back in this country, and what morality am I talking about? I'm not talking about any kind of dogmatic morality. What about just protecting the innocence of our children? How about we start there? How about we start that, just right there as a starting point? Protect children. You know, us heterosexuals, before all of a sudden you gays started coming out of the woodwork and coming out of the closet or whatever, LGBTQ, us heterosexuals were protecting children from being exposed to heterosexual contact or any kind of acts or anything of that nature. That's why we were so protective on television from showing off or saying too much. That's why we put warning labels on video games and we put warning labels on goddamn music. We put a rating system on movies. I mean, we tried to protect the young innocence of children because they should. They have that right to be innocent, for Christ's sake. And you as a parent who bring in a child from this earth, into this earth, you bring in children out of selfishness. You parents know it. Each and every one of you parents out there bring in a child out of selfishness because, oh, I deserve a child. I'm almost 30 years old and my biological clock is ticking, so whoever decides to ejaculate in my vagina and I happen to shit out whatever I happen to shit out, well, at least I'm a mother. At least I can check that one off the checklist. I mean, that's literally why people are having children. And we need to realize that if you're going to have children, that there is responsibilities as parents. Responsibility as parents that you take on when you have that child. And I'm just simply stating one of those responsibilities is protecting these children from any kind of goddamn sexual contact, any sexual exposure to sexual acts, sexual deviancy, and to protect their innocence for as long as you fucking possibly can. But we've lost that now, right? Since we have allowed, folks, and listen, everybody said that it wasn't going to be a slippery slope if we just allowed the LGBTQ to just come out in the open and just have oral copulation between two men across the street from an elementary school protected by the First Amendment. That there wasn't going to be any slippery slope from men. Then they said there wasn't going to be any slippery slope when it came to gay marriage, right? Folks, gay marriage has been around for a few years. Take a look at the slide in the slippery slope we have fucking gone down. We've got, what is it, a 9-year-old kid in New York City opening up a drag queen club for kids under 12. Huh? That's liberal. You see, that's what you're voting for when you vote Democrat. Do you understand me? You're voting for it's okay, don't worry about it. It's a 9-year-old kid in a freaking drag queen outfit. Let's go ahead and condone this. Let's open up a fucking club and let's condone other children that are under the age of 12 to do the same fucking thing. And like I've told each and every one of you, let's be adults about LGBTQ, please, all right? I mean, I'm sick and tired of you fucking gays, lesbos, trannies, pansexual. I don't give a shit what kind of sexual you are. I'm sick and tired of you people trying to equate yourselves as a ethnic minority. Like you're a black or a Mexican or something, for Christ's sake. Jesus Christ, I'm sick of this shit. I'm sick of it. I'm so sick of it because what it comes down to, folks, is that why are they always around children? Folks, if you have followed me on Gab, then you have seen the countless videos that I have posted in which drag queens are being brought in to read to children ages 4, 5, 6 years old. Talking about being drag. Who wants to be a drag queen? I want to be a superhero. Yes, you can be your own drag superhero. Who wants to be a drag queen? I want to be a police officer. Yes, you can be your own police officer in drag, like one of the Village People. Enough! Stay away from our goddamn children! And that's why I'm telling you, 2018 and this election is fucking important. If you're a Democrat, if you're left, on the leftist political side in this country, then you are pro-pedophilia, you are pro-illegal immigrant, and you are pro-criminal. That is not propaganda. That is not rhetoric. That is a fact. Those are facts. Because as I suggested, when do you see the Democrats and the leftists come out and become most vocal and make sure that they have some big stink and some big protest about something? It's because of an illegal immigrant, because of a criminal, or because of a pedophile. And take a look at what's happening to the James Gunn situation, folks. The James Gunn situation, the director of the Guardians of the Galaxy, his co-stars want him back. You got a petition out. It's okay to joke about pedophilia. Let's bring him back. A petition of 300,000 pro-pedophile joke people. It's okay. I mean, folks, this is how fast we are sliding down the immoral path of just deviant debauchery, just insanity, really. And I'm glad that we have people like Isaac Cappy and other people need to come forward in Hollywood and stop being scared and stop fearing, because you all that are silent in Hollywood are consenting to this, and you are allowing more and more children to be corrupted, to be sexually just abused on a consistent basis because you and your selfishness, you and your vanity. And I'm glad, and every time I've heard Isaac Cappy come public, he says, look, I'm doing this because I can't look at myself. It's just disgusting. I can't keep going. I can't sleep at night because it's wrong. It's wrong. And Cappy, Isaac Cappy, has suggested this B-list actor. I think he's a character actor. I hate to disrespect him to saying he's a B-list actor, but he's a character actor in Hollywood, been there for a while. He has suggested that these parents of the children are perfectly okay with their children being abused. Perfectly okay with it. Why? Money. Because these children, folks, they don't have access to the millions of dollars that they're paid as an actor. That is in the property of the parents. I mean, this was very prevalent during Macaulay Culkin. Y'all remember that kid? Now he's a goddamn, if you want my opinion, I think he's a sick, in my opinion, he's a sick, drug-induced pedophile, in my opinion. Always making references to pizza. Pizza this, pizza that. Have you ever seen his pizza video? Have you seen that? He did a music video about pizza. And considering all the facts that have come out about Pizzagate, it's utterly disgusting to watch. But why is he such a sick, drug addict looking, in my opinion, pedophile looking, in my opinion, maniac? Why did he turn out the way he turned out? Because his parents sold him out, man. I mean, he was out here making Home Alone. I think that this kid, if I'm not mistaken, got $15 million for Home Alone 2. Something like that. $15 million. And this kid barely saw a fraction of it. Because why? You know, the mom and dad were spending it. As a matter of fact, they were so busy spending it, they got divorced. I'm telling you right now, man, I mean, these parents have no problem going to Hollywood, selling their kids to Moloch, because that's what the hell they're doing, just so that they can have the fortune and their kid can have the fame. I mean, I could go on and on. Look at Gary Coleman. Y'all remember that poor black kid, Gary Coleman, ended up becoming a broken version of a man? Died miserable and broke in some trailer park or something? I mean, these are child actors. Child actors that have literally gone through the gambit, and we wonder why they end up like this. I mean, why do they end up killing themselves? Why do they end up drug addicts? I mean, there's something obviously going on in Hollywood, and we all know what it is. We all know that there's some kind of sick pedo something or other going on, and we need to expose it. And I hope that Isaac Cappy and I hope that others that are out there listening that know what's going on come out the closet and just come out the closet already. I mean, this pedophilia is so rampant, folks. That did you hear? And I gabbed about this earlier today. Y'all remember the bronies, right? I know if you've listened to this broadcast, you're very familiar with these damn bronies. My little pony, my little pony. You're familiar with these little freaks, and as a result, I've stopped. I have stopped catering to that sadistic, sick, man-child cartoon fetish goddamn demographic. We are purely serious now, and I'm glad I did. I'm glad I did. I really am glad. Because take a look at what happened in Ottawa, Canada. An artist who helped animate the children's TV show My Little Pony, My Little Pony, is sentenced to 28 months in prison for possessing more than 60,000 images of child pornography and sharing them online, all right? Tom Weissam, 55, worked on TV productions such as My Little Pony, Friendship is Magic, and Littlest Pet Shop, according to Internet Movie Database. Weissam was sentenced earlier this month after pleading guilty to charges in December, 2 months after police executed a search warrant on his home in Old Ottawa South. Police found 60,165 pictures, many of them duplicates, along with 1,626 videos, some of which depicted adults engaging in sexual behaviors with children. Oh, Jesus Christ. What did I tell you, man? What did I tell you? And I'm going to continue to underscore this, and I don't care if you morons that are out there listening, you cartoon fetish man children, I don't give a shit what kind of argument you make. If you are over the age of 18 and are infatuated with cartoons, and that have such a fandom with cartoons that you're going to conventions, you're collecting the goddamn children dolls of the goddamn cartoon, all that garbage, then you should be considered a suspect if there's any kind of pedophilia activity within your neighborhood. I mean, at this point, I'm not even joking around. At this point, I mean, shouldn't we consider anyone who is fetished, cartoon fetish, that's over the age of 18, that's out there going to these cons and that are collecting all these toys, and they're man children. That's what they do. I mean, shouldn't we automatically consider that these people are automatic pedophiles? And what do I mean by that? What I'm saying is, if there's some kind of molestation reported in that person's area, they should be the prime suspect as far as I'm concerned. I'm telling you, I'm not joking around, man. I am sick and tired of this cartoon fetish America. I'm sick and tired of it, for Christ's sake. You people that are cartoon fetish, that are over the age of 18, that are still buying toys, that are still watching cartoons, that are going to conventions of this crap, you people are the problem. Do you understand that? You people are a problem. And you should be looked after by some goddamn authority to make sure that you're not out here trying to rob the innocence of children. Because why do you think someone would be so infatuated with a young child's cartoon? Why? Because it gets them right in with children. Say, hey, I'm like you. I have My Little Pony dolls, and I've got My Little Pony stuff. You want to come over to my house, and we have all this My Little Pony stuff? And we can put you in a pony outfit and all that garbage. And I don't care what you idiots say. I don't care. Every one of you brony assholes that have been kicked out of the True Capitalist Radio chat room, what has been your excuse? What has been your excuse? I like the artistic way it's drawn and the way it's painted, the animation, and I like the way the message of friendship and you got to be kidding me. At this point, how many more times do we have to be shown that these people, these adults that want to, for whatever reason, want to be close to children, want to influence children, want to be around children, should be suspected of something, in my personal opinion, because in this day and age, we've got so many people out here that are wanting to sexualize children that we need to take more than just regular measures to protect these children at this point in time. And I think if you're a pedophile and you've been shown a pedophile, you've been proven a pedophile, you should be executed. You should be executed in the worst possible way, the most painful way possible. And I don't give a crap what anybody says about that. If you're a goddamn pedophile, you should be executed in the most grotesque, the most evil way possible. Because how dare you? How dare you rob the innocence of a child, for Christ's sake? Anyway, go to my Gab right now. I'm going to repost the Macaulay Culkin pizza video that I found disturbing that I talked about a couple of minutes ago. I know a lot of people were asking, Ghost, what are you talking about? Which Macaulay Culkin video? Well, there it is. I just gabbed it on my Gab right now. All right, you take a look at that video and just remember all the Pizzagate stuff that has come out, and just remember all that stuff. And this is Hollywood, folks. This is Hollywood. Like I said, before I move on to the crypto and stocks talk, like I had said, Isaac Cappy had alluded to the fact, and not only did he allude to the fact to the Capitalist Army member that was direct messaging him on Twitter, he has come out publicly and suggested that allegedly Seth Green and his wife are the leaders of a big child trafficking ring within Hollywood, California. And it makes sense because lest we forget that Seth Green was a child when he was an actor. He's been a child actor. And according to, the lingo amongst pedophiles, the lingo amongst pedophiles is to refer to a child. Like if you're going to make reference to a child, if you're a pedophile, it's referred, a child in pedophile linguistics is referred to as a chicken. Chicken. Now, isn't Seth Green the producer of a program on Adult Swim called Robot Chicken? Just saying. I'm just saying, okay? Anyway, it's about time to get into some crypto and some stock market talk, folks. I know a lot of people are asking, Ghost, what the hell's going on out here in these markets? What's going on? We're seeing a contraction here in the damn cryptocurrency market, and yet the dollar is down. Can you explain this to me, Ghost? I can explain it to you very, very easily. First and foremost, folks, okay? All right, the crypto markets are down and the U.S. dollar is down, okay? So what gives? Investors in all markets right now are waiting for Wednesday's Fed announcement on whether or not they're going to raise interest rates or they're going to keep interest rates as it is. Now, you've got a lot of people in all markets anticipating the Federal Reserve raising the interest rates a quarter point. And if that happens, we're going to see the dollar rise once again, because it's the whole reason why the Federal Reserve raises interest rates is to bring in value to the dollar. What did I say, folks? The reason Federal Reserve raises interest rates is to recall all those outstanding dollars that they've been printing out ever since Alan Greenspan was goddamn Federal Reserve chairman. And they're recalling those dollars back, and as a result, the fiat currency of the, or I should say the value of the fiat currency of the U.S. dollar has gone up. So that's what everybody is pricing into the market at this point in time. You're seeing it right now in the cryptocurrency markets. You're seeing it right now in the stock market. You're seeing it everywhere. They're pricing that in. We're waiting. Wednesday is the day. So all eyes on Wednesday on whether or not the Federal Reserve raises interest rates. Now, the President Trump, has made his statements openly and publicly that he does not want interest rates raised because we don't need a valuable dollar as we're emerging out of a great recession that Obama kept us in throughout his entire presidency. And why do I say that? Because if we bring in value to the dollar while we're trying to escape and break out of this recession, we're going to prohibit people from wanting to spend that dollar. Because, folks, if the dollar is going to raise in value, then it makes it economically viable for people to not only save their dollar, but save it in currency, in U.S. fiat. Not invest in stock, not invest in gold or commodities or currency. No, if the U.S. dollar is going to continue to go up, it behooves investors to, get a savings account and keep the dollars in there. And not only does it gain value with the value of the dollar going up as interest rates go higher, but it's also gaining interest in whatever the bearing interest savings account you have it in. And as a result, it makes it accessible. You want your fiat accessible. That's why you have it in a savings account, so that you can just go in, boom, I need my cash, I need 100, I need a 500, I need 1,000, and boom, it's right there. And it was there gaining value, and it was there gaining interest. And because the value of the dollar is going up, this is why people are going to save their dollar. They're not going to want to spend it. And folks, like I said, since we're emerging out of this recession, we need as many people spending U.S. dollars as possible. Because as I suggested, the more hands those dollars are exchanged in, the more opportunity of wealth is there for everybody in America. And that's what we want. We want people spending their money. We don't want people saving their money. We want a prosperous economy where people are like, you know what, it's a great economy, man. I want to live large. I don't remember the last time I've lived like this. Let's live it up, etc. Not save their cash because, whoa, the dollar value is going up and let me save my money, etc. We need people to spend their money because that provides the opportunity for wealth generation. And we need wealth generation at this point in time. We need economic opportunity in America at this point in time. So once again, all eyes on Wednesday's Federal Reserve announcement on whether or not they are going to raise interest rates or not. And also, folks, there is a key jobs numbers report on Friday, which will also affect the market. So if we see some positivities in the job numbers on Friday, we could end up pretty bullish in the stock market, even though we have a raise in the interest rates. So a lot of things to look for. A very busy week if you are an investor in any of these markets this week. Let's go ahead and take a look at crypto right now, folks. Now, as I said, crypto is seeing a little bit of a contraction here. We saw the crypto markets go as high as about 305, 310 in the market capitalization here in the past weekend. It has since contracted. It is now, at the current time, it is, what's today's date? Today's July 30th, 2018. As of right now, the market capitalization of the entire cryptocurrency market is $292 billion market capitalization. $292 billion market cap. Now, let's go ahead and go to Bitcoin, folks. Now, have you been hearing the business media about all the positivity that's been gobbled up about goddamn Bitcoin, for Christ's sake? I can't look at the business media without people suggesting that Bitcoin is the thing to get into. Bitcoin's going to 40,000. Bitcoin's going to 80,000 at the end of the... I mean, I'm seeing constant pushing, constant plugging of Bitcoin. And as I stated, folks, that's why I suggested that we were going to see a run on Bitcoin, and we have. And remember, I was saying we could see another run on Bitcoin when Bitcoin was down to $6,100. Well, now we're starting to see that incremental push-up. We're starting to see that run here. And like I said, the only thing creating this run is pure speculation, folks, all right? Pure speculation. The technology is not in Bitcoin's favor. Even though it was the first kid on the blockchain, there's a lot more coins that are a lot better than Bitcoin. The only reason that Bitcoin right now is still relevant is because it's the first kid on the blockchain. It's on the top of mind when it comes to anyone who is asked the question, what is cryptocurrency? The first thing that pops out of their head, first thing, Bitcoin, Bitcoin. So let's go ahead and take a look at it since we're here. Bitcoin, symbol BTC, current market capitalization is $140 billion market cap. The circulating supply is 17.1 million in circulation. In the past 24 hours, it has not really gone up, but it's gone up 0.01%, which is damn near nothing, but at least it's not the negative. Current price for Bitcoin, symbol BTC, $8,181.20 per Bitcoin. Let's take a look at Ethereum, ETH. Current market capitalization is $46 billion market cap. The circulating supply, folks, just hit 101 million in circulation. Can you believe that? 101 million in circulation for Ethereum. And as I stated, it doesn't look like it has a total circulation. It doesn't look like it's going to stop. It looks like a freaking Dogecoin, for heaven's sake. And that's what's got me a little worried about this coin. That's why I'm definitely short on this coin. We're definitely going to see some increases in Ethereum, but I mean, for a long-term investment, I don't think so, okay? I don't think so. All right, I think that it'll be around here for the next few years. You can be able to capitalize on it, make some trades on it. But as far as it, reigning supreme, I mean, at these circulating rates, and not to mention, there was a buffer overflow problem in their smart contracting, which, jeopardized, I believe, Binance. Funds are safu. Funds are safu. But, yeah, I mean, they have a lot of problems, man. And, I mean, you got to take that into consideration when you are thinking about Ethereum for a long-term investment. 101 million in circulation for Ethereum. In the past 24 hours, we have seen Ethereum go down 1.64%. Current price for Ethereum, symbol ETH, $457.25 per Ethereum. Per Ethereum. Like I said, we could see a run here on the short term, but I'm definitely not long term on Ethereum. Let's get to Bitcoin Cash, folks. What did I tell you about Bitcoin Cash when it was at $600? I like this one, folks. I am a holder on this one. Like I said, for the next 6 to 8 months at this point in time. I like the volatility on this one. I like the fact that this is a better viable alternative for fiat currency. The blockchain sizes are bigger, etc., etc. So I like it. Let's take a look at it. Bitcoin Cash, symbol BCH. Current market cap is $14 billion market capitalization. The current circulating supply is 17.2 million in circulation. In the past 24 hours, Bitcoin Cash has gone down 0.79%. Current price for Bitcoin Cash is $816.36 per Bitcoin Cash. Now, let me go ahead and get to Litecoin, folks. Litecoin. And I'm going to be honest with you, folks. I don't know what's going on with Litecoin. Once again, Charlie Lee and me are definitely not getting along. All right, and the reason is because I think Charlie Lee is a goddamn. He's a nutcase. He's a spastic nutcase, and I think that he needs to shit or get off the pot. Let's just put it that way. And for all those that don't know, Charlie Lee is the creator of Litecoin. And the reason I'm talking shit about him now is because according to him, according to Charlie Lee from Litecoin, all right, there is a supposed confirmation that Litecoin will have support for HTC's blockchain. Now, what does that mean, folks? Let me go ahead and read the article so I can tell you what exactly is going on here, okay? HTC Corporation has announced that Litecoin founder Charlie Lee will serve as an advisor to HTC Exodus, the native blockchain smartphone development by the Taiwanese consumer electronics firm. The HTC Exodus, which is the Asian tech giant as described as the world's first native blockchain phone, is slated for release this year in the third quarter. HTC has indicated that every Exodus device will be a node and that this will allow users to own their identity and their data by having both on their devices as opposed to being on a centralized cloud. Additionally, every device will come together with a cold storage wallet for cryptocurrencies. So, I mean, I don't know what's going to culminate of this. I mean, this is pretty decent news, I would suggest, for Litecoin. The first native blockchain phone, and it's going to support LTC. I'm telling you this right now. I don't know what's going on. And then you see, not even the market knows what's going on because no one is buying in on this news whatsoever. I mean, this should be decent news for Litecoin. No one's buying in on it. Let me go ahead and tell you. Let me go ahead and tell you the coverage on it. LTC is the symbol for Litecoin. Market capitalization is $4.7 billion market cap. The circulating supply is 57 million in circulation. In the past 24 hours, Litecoin has gone down 1.13% decrease in a 24-hour period. So that just goes to show you that the market is not impressed with the HTC announcement. Or either that or they don't believe it. I mean, I personally believe that they don't believe Charlie Lee. I mean, Charlie Lee has been talking so much shit out of his damn egg roll eating derriere that no one knows whether he's serious or not. Anyway, current price for Litecoin, symbol LTC, current price $82.81 per Litecoin. Let's get to Monero, folks. XMR. The reason I cover this one is because it's a short and pattern trading play. It likes to run, folks. It likes to run. So that's why I cover it. Let's go ahead and take a look at it. XMR is the symbol for Monero. Current market capitalization is $2.1 billion market cap. The circulating supply for Monero is 16.2 million in circulation. In the past 24 hours, Monero has gone down 2.42%. Current price for Monero, symbol XMR, $131.62 per Monero. Let's get to Dash, folks. DASH. It was making a pretty good run up until this latest contraction. Let's go ahead and take a look at it. Dash, DASH. Current market capitalization is $1.9 billion market cap. The circulating supply is what I like. It's a fairly decent, fairly low 8.2 million in circulation for Dash. The current price, in the past 24 hours, I should say, it has gone down slightly, 1.26% decrease. The current price for Dash, symbol DASH, $235.77 per Dash. Let's continue, folks. Jesus Christ. Let me get something to drink. Let me get something to drink here. It is one of the hottest days in San Antonio. It's been that way for the past several days, but it's unbelievably hot today for some reason. I don't get it. Let's get to Zcash, folks. One of my favorites. I'm definitely hooking it up. I'm definitely looking at this one. I'm mining this one. I'm acquiring this one. There should be no reason why Zcash is not $1,000 a coin at the end of this year. So let's go ahead and take a look at it. Right now, Zcash is $954 million in market capitalization. The circulating supply, folks, very, very small. Look at this. I mean, Zcash circulating supply is only 4.4 million in circulation. That's it. 4.4 million. I like it. In the past 24 hours, Zcash has gone down 1.80%. Current price for Zcash, symbol ZEC. ZEC is the symbol. Current price, $213.61 per Zcash. As you can see, folks, all these damn prices that I'm mentioning are all in the negative. We are definitely seeing a contraction here. So that's why you're seeing everything in the negative, all right? Now, let's take a look at Quantum, folks. Once again, my and the Inner Circle's biggest holding. It's what our long-term holding is. We believe that this is the future of crypto. All you got to do is take a look at it for yourself. I don't want to pump up this damn thing. There's no need to. It is what it is. And not to mention, I'm loving these prices, man. I am acquiring so much. And by the way, as you wait for the value of Quantum to go up, QTUM is the symbol, QTUM, I mean, you're getting proof of stake payments, man. I'm telling you, man, I have somebody that's getting stake payments that's got 1,000 Quantum. They're getting stake payments every goddamn 20-something days. I mean, it's worth it. You can't get that kind of return off of a goddamn 401k. You can't get that damn return anywhere. I mean, and on top of you getting a proof of stake payment, just wait until we start seeing Quantum take the same trajectory as Ethereum. Now, why would Quantum do so? Because it's got smart contract technology. It is got, I mean, all kinds. Look, I don't want to. Just watch. Just watch and see what happens. That's all I'm saying. Just watch and see what happens. Anyway, today's the day to buy. I'm loving it. I bought some more today. QTUM is the symbol. Current market cap is $661 million market cap. The circulating supply is 88 million in circulation. In the past 24 hours, Quantum has gone down 3.48%. Current price for Quantum, symbol QTUM, $7.45. Man, that is such an ultimate buy. I don't know what the hell you guys are doing, for Christ's sake, if you ain't buying on that. All right, let me go ahead and cover one more cryptocurrency before I get the hell out of here. Let me go ahead and pick one that I think is, when everything's down today, folks. Everything is in the negative. I'm looking for something that maybe you could find some kind of green in, but everything is in the negative, with the exception of Augur. Let's go ahead and talk about Augur. Now, Augur right now is online. I don't know if you've been reading about it recently. Their predictive technology has now extended into who is going to be assassinated and the probability of them doing so. For you folks that don't know, Augur is a blockchain technology that is a predictive blockchain technology. This is an ERC20 token. The QRC20 equivalent to Augur is BOT, which is Bodhi, which is just at the beginning stages of its project, which combines both Augur's technology and Genosis. But the reason we're covering Augur, folks, is because I believe that the only reason that it's positive today is because that its predictive technology is online. I mean, it's online right now. Take a look at it. Anyway, Augur, symbol REP. REP is the symbol. Current market capitalization is $341 million market capitalization. Circulating supply, folks, is 11 million. That's it. That's it. 11 million. Very low circulating supply, and it doesn't seem as if, let me go ahead and make sure of this, it doesn't seem as if it's going to be any more. No, that's it, 11 million. No more circulated after 11 million. It's all circulated. So that's another good thing about this coin, in my opinion. In the past 24 hours, it has gone up 2%, folks. So it's the only, at least reputable coin at this point in time that is in the green. Augur, REP, it is up 2%. Current price for Augur, $31.05 per Augur cryptocurrency. Now let's go ahead and get to the stock market, shall we, folks? Now, stock market fell kind of flat because we are awaiting these Federal Reserve's decision on whether or not they're going to raise the interest rates. Like I said, these stock investors are not stupid, They know exactly when to hold them, when to fold them, and right now you see some of them folding them just in case there is a raise in the interest rates, just in case. But I think that even if there is a raise in the interest rates, folks, I think that we're having so much good data, and I think that we're emerging out of this recession at a rapid pace. And I think that you've got jobs coming in. We've got more jobs than there are people looking for jobs. So that means artificially, the job wages have gone up. Seriously. Just by the demand. I shouldn't say artificially. I should say naturally. My apologies. Not naturally. The demand for more jobs than there are workers means that a lot of things are happening right now. Did you hear, folks, that I'm talking employers, they're starting to overlook things like drug tests, like if you happen to smoke a little bit of reefer, they're not even worrying about that. There's not even enough workers. They're like, you know what, you smoke pot, all right, that's good. You don't have a college degree? Who gives a crap? We need the help. Come aboard. What? You don't have a high school diploma? Who gives a crap? We'll train you. It is so desperate out here in the employment market, folks. This is what employers are having to do. So if you're still some fucking loser that's living with mammy and that are doing nothing but playing video games and wasting your life away, why don't you go out and get yourself one of these jobs that are plethora? There's a bunch of jobs out there. Take the wages that you get from that job, save your money, and get yourself some kind of a crap car. Get yourself some kind of a crap apartment. And even if it is crap, even if it is a crappy apartment, even if it is a crappy car, it's yours, man. You're independent now. Nobody tells you, what to eat, how to eat, when to piss, where to piss, if you're that kind of a sick asshole. You're your own independent person, man. That's what I'm encouraging each and every one of you that are young right now. Go out there and be independent, baby. Go out there and show mommy and daddy that you don't need their goddamn help and be like, man, I can take care of my fucking self, Mom. I can take care of myself. Stop wiping my ass, Ma. I'm just saying, folks, they're overlooking everything. Employers are overlooking everything. There's so many jobs. Wages are high. If you're still being a fucking loser and you're just making excuses on why you're not getting a job, well, then it's your fucking problem, and you're wasting your own life. You're wasting your own time just sitting there bitching and moaning. It's time for you to go out there and get back to fucking work is what you need to do. Get back to work! Get back to work! Anyway, let's go ahead and cover the stock market here, folks. Once again, flat day in the stock market on the negative side because everybody's anticipating Wednesday's Federal Reserve announcement on whether or not they're going to raise interest rates, all right? Let's go ahead and take a look at the Dow Jones Industrial. It is down today 144.23 points, a percentage decrease of 0.57%. Closing out the Dow Jones Industrial at 25,306.82 points for the Dow Jones Industrial. We've got the S&P also down today, 16.22 points in the negative, a percentage decrease of 0.58%. Closing out the S&P at 2,802.60 points for the S&P 500. We've got the NASDAQ. The NASDAQ is also down today, 107.41 points, a percentage decrease of 1.39%. Closing out the NASDAQ at $7,630, or excuse me, not $30, 7,630 points even. All right, and that's the stock market there. Now, hey, what I'd like to also say, since I just covered the NASDAQ, it's time to destroy the Silicon Valley oligarchs that control social media. All right? It's time to destroy these damn social media oligarchs, and it's time to start giving some independent stuff a try. All right? That's why I'm saying, folks, we got to give some independent stuff a try. That's why I am all in with Gab. Gab is an independent social media company. This is not some kind of corporate conglomerate. All right? They believe in free speech out here. Since when did we allow these Silicon Valley oligarchs to be the judge, jury, and convictor of what is speech and what isn't speech? I mean, what makes these people the moral police of speech? They're not. And that's why I'm telling everybody out there, screw these damn people. Don't fucking continue to go on and use these services, for Christ's sake. Screw them. That's how you destroy them. Delete your accounts on your Facebook. Delete your accounts on your Twitter, for Christ's sake. You will destroy them. Did you see? They missed the street's expectations. They missed expectations for earnings, and their stocks are taking a dive. Let's continue that goddamn stock dive. Let's remove Mark Zuckerberg while we're at it. I'm telling you right now, you want to troll a corporation, you want to troll Facebook, why don't you contact investor relations and tell them, remove Zuckerberg? Same thing with Twitter. You want to make some trolling, you want to do some attention getting, go to the investor relations in Twitter and tell them, remove pothole Jack Dorsey. Remove that pothole Jack Dorsey. And the reason I say pothole, hey Jack, you've been emaciating on us very, very rapidly here in the past years. If not AIDS, then what? If not AIDS, then what? I'm just saying. Anyway, let's go ahead and get to commodities, all right? Let's get to commodities here. Energy, folks. Now, we're seeing some increases in energy. Remember, we saw last week barrels of oil for WTI at $61 a barrel. It has rapidly increased. And the reason is, folks, is because of all the destabilization in the Middle East, folks. We got problems with Iran. Now you got Turkey flexing nuts. You know what I'm saying? I mean, a lot of things happening here. So we shall see what happens with the oil prices, but I would not doubt to see $100 a barrel of oil here in the near future. I would not doubt it. I mean, the conditions are right for so. Now, once again, everybody has to keep their ears out and eyes open on what OPEC is going to do as far as its production is concerned, but I don't know. I think that there's a lot of incentive for OPEC not to produce. So we shall see. Let's take a look at the current prices, all right? WTI sweet crude is down a penny. A percentage decrease of 0.01%. Closing out WTI, get this, WTI sweet crude price, $70.12 per barrel of WTI sweet crude. All right, we also got Brent crude oil, folks. It is up 68 cents, a percentage increase of 0.92%. Closing out, or I should say the current price for Brent crude oil, current price, $74.97 per barrel of Brent crude oil. All right. We've got gasoline. Gasoline is up 0.02%. Natural gas is up 0.14%. And heating oil is up 0.02%. Let's go ahead and get to the metals, shall we? The metals! Let's get to the goddamn metals! We've got gold up 10 cents. A percentage increase of 0.01%, closing out gold at $1,231.60 per troy ounce of gold. We've got silver down today 1 penny. It is down today a penny, a percentage decrease of 0.05%, closing out silver at $15.53 per troy ounce of silver. We've got copper. It is up today 0.16%, and platinum is up 0.08%. Let's get to the agriculture. Grains, we've got corn up 0.13%. Wheat is down 0.32%. Oats is unchanged. Rough rice, it is down 0.92%. Soybean is unchanged. Soybean oil is up 0.24%. Canola is up 0.02%. Let's get to the soft, shall we? We've got cocoa. It is up 0.27%. Coffee. Dude, don't talk to me unless I have my coffee. I need it. Shut up! Anyway, we got coffee. It is up 0.86%. Sugar! Sugar is down 0.55%. And good God, did you all see orange juice? Oh, my God. What's going on with the crop of orange juice, baby? Orange juice is up 3.24% increase on the day. I mean, good God. Oh, man, we're going to have to pay more for orange juice now, man. God damn it. Anyway, cotton is up 0.97%. Lumber is down 3.84%. The reason we're seeing a decrease in lumber is we're starting to see the real estate market stabilize in its buying. You know, people are not out there in a hurry to go out and buy houses anymore, and a lot of that has to do with the interest rates as well. But we're finally starting to see that level off, and that's why you're seeing lumber going down, folks. It is down 3.84%. Rubber is up 0.41%, and ethanol is up 0.90%. Let's get to livestock, shall we? Live cattle is down 0.61%. Cattle feeder is down 0.54%. And ham bone, lean hog is up 0.69%. And that, my friends, is the markets for your ass, all right? Anyway, folks, we are now 2 minutes in to the second hour of the True Capitalist Radio broadcast. And, of course, I am your host, the man they call Ghost. And once again, folks, I want to thank you very much for tuning in with me. Before we get started on anything else, I'd like to remind everybody to please spread this show link around like wildfire, all right? Spread it around! Spread it around! If you're listening to this broadcast, then you're listening to the underground of the internet, boy. Do you understand that? Do you understand it? I am the underground, boy! I am the underground! Goddamn right. Anyway, folks, let me go ahead and please have you all follow me once again on my Gab account, folks, all right? It's my only social media representation on the internet today, all right? And if you don't know how to get to Gab, well, then, by God, get there. Type in your browser right now. Type this in your browser right now. GAB.AI, all right? Make yourself a free account on there and follow me under the name Politics Ghost, all right? Politics Ghost, all one word, no underscores. Politics Ghost is the name to follow. All right, and I also want to say, if you want to be a part of the True Capitalist Radio chat room, what's going on to the True Capitalist Radio chat room, baby? If you want to be a part of it, all you've got to do is go to my Gab, check out my Gab right now, and hit the subscribe button, all right? Go to Politics Ghost right now and hit the subscribe button, and once you do all that, private message me on Gab, baby. Private message me on Gab and let me know your Discord chat name so I can give you a private invitation to the True Capitalist Radio chat room. It's that damn simple. And before I move on to the rest of the broadcast, I want to remind everybody, so all of you guys that out there have like a spare laptop, a spare computer, or if you're one of these people that keeps your computer on all night, well, why not let it make some money for you? I know there's a lot of you out there that don't know how to run mining software and all this complicated, command line code stuff. I know that y'all have a hard time doing it. Look, I announced last week, and I'm going to announce it right now, a set it and forget it application, which you just run this application and the damn thing mines for you. All right? The damn thing utilizes your computing power to mine, baby. It is that simple. No mining experience necessary. All you have to do is have a spare laptop or a desktop with a graphics card and let the thing mine for you. All right? Set it and forget it. No experience. Now, look, check out my Gab right now. All right? Check out my Gab right now because that is the link. Click that link that I just posted right now so that you can get your goddamn computer running. Get your goddamn computer running and mining for you, for Christ's sake, all right? I'm not joking. You got a spare computer? You got a spare laptop? Go to my Gab right now. Click that link on that first post. Let your goddamn computer work for you, baby. I'm just saying. No experience necessary. All you got to do is just set it and forget it. Set it and forget it. For all you folks that don't know how to mine, it's easy as hell. It's easy as hell. I'm just saying. Anyway, let me go ahead and take a sip of this tea. What am I, English now? No, I'm telling you, I'm drinking tea now. I'm drinking other alternatives. Man, it's almost a month, baby. It's almost a month that yours truly has not consumed one drop of alcohol. And like I said, I'll be back, all right? I'm not turning straight edge or anything of that nature, all right? I'll be back. I'm just trying to clean the system out. You know what I'm saying? I'm just trying to, clean the damn system out a little bit, and then I'll be back. We'll be back to drinking in a few months. You got to do this, man. If not, you're going to wear your body out, and before you know it, it's not going to be working for you, is all I'm saying. Let me go ahead and drink some of this tea here. No reason to continue to do this preamble. Now that we got that all out of the way, got my production notes right here, let's go ahead and get into some straight political dope, shall we? Let's talk about the president. I love this president, baby. I love Donald Trump. I'm telling you, what a capitalist president. I am glad that this man is president. Every day I wake up and I feel better. That's why I'm not drinking anymore, folks. I'm not drinking anymore is because I don't need to self-medicate. I'm not living in Obama. I'm not living in Obama's fucking quasi-communist socialist fucking America anymore. All right? I mean, I'm living like a capitalist. I'm living in a capitalist America. I've got a capitalist president. I'm loving every single day. I'm so optimistic every single day. I'm expanding my businesses, man. I want to start employing more employees now that we got that Obamacare crap out of the way. I mean, I am so optimistic about this America. If you're a capitalist right now, then it is better time than ever. It is the best time than ever to become a capitalist or to be a capitalist, all right? So if you're not a capitalist, don't sit there and hate us. Join us, baby! Don't sit there and hate us. Join us. Get a job. Go out there and make your living. That's right. Make your living. Earn your living. You're not given a living. You're not given a living. You earn a living. Go out there and take it. Go out there and stake your claim. There are more jobs right now available in America than there are people looking for jobs, baby. Go out there and stake your claim, man. Come on. Anyway, look, back to the president. Donald Trump here recently, and I'm telling you, I'm glad that he is nutting up and slapping the Congress around a little bit, giving a couple of bitch slaps, because he is threatening to shut down the government over the border wall and immigration reform. I mean, it's about time that this has happened. I mean, it is about time that we get this border wall. It's about time that we reform this immigration situation, folks, because we don't need the type of people that have been coming into our country and have been a burden to our country here within the past 20 to 25 years. Just like the president said, if we're going to bring in people, we need to bring them, first of all, on merit. I mean, because we want to make sure that they're going to add something to our society, not be a detriment to our society. And secondly, folks, we have to make sure that they love this country. We got to make sure if they're going to be a citizen of America, we got to make sure that these people do not have any loyalty to their old country of origin. Because if they do, then why the hell are we going to make them a fucking citizen of our country if they still got loyalty to their other country, for Christ's sake? I mean, it's like these people. We give them amnesty, right? Well, I don't know if I wouldn't say we gave them amnesty. We just allowed them over the border. That's what Obama allowed them to do. Just come across the border, and many of them are given sanctuary out there in California. All right? What are they doing? Whenever they protest, whenever these massive amount of illegal immigrants protest, what are they doing? They're waving the Mexican flag. They're waving the Mexican flag. They're promoting the Mexican flag, for Christ's sake. Then why are you here, illegal immigrants? If you're going to be supporting your flag, if you're going to be flying your flag of origin, if you're going to be so proud of where you were trying to run away from to get here, then why are you here? It's time for these immigrants to realize that America is not going to oblige their little cultural idiosyncrasies. You're going to have to oblige our culture. You're going to have to oblige our way of life. I mean, I'm serious, man. I'm sick and tired of us as Americans having to accept that there's an oppressed woman with a damn beekeeper suit. There's an oppressed woman with a goddamn hijab. I'm sick of it. I'm sick of it. I'm sick of, like, oh, okay, I guess these Arabs are praying right now because Arabs have to pray 5 times a day. And they could be in the middle of a goddamn shopping mall and, Wallahu Akbar. I mean, fucking right in the middle. Enough! You oblige American culture. You oblige the American way of life if you're going to be in my fucking country. And this is what every American should feel. This is what every American should feel like. Because could you as an American go over to a country and act belligerent? Could you go over to a country and demand entitlements? Could you go over to another country and wave the American flag and degrade the integrity of that country? No! Only in America do we allow this madness. Only in America do we allow this lunacy, for Christ's sake. And it's got to stop. It's got to stop, and thank God the president is finally going to say, look, I'm not pussyfooting around, all right? I'm willing to shut down the government this September because that's when the funding ends, folks. That's when we have to go and do another an extension, a budget extension. But the budget extension the last time, well, it ends in September, and according to the president, he is willing to shut down the government if he does not have his border wall. That's $25 billion in funding for the border wall. And at the same time, we want to reform this immigration, folks. Get rid of the damn immigration lottery. All right? And this catch and release, end that. End this chain migration and just limit it to spouses and children. I mean, these are very simple reforms. I mean, these are simple reforms, and yet once you talk about immigration reform, of course the proverbial, you're racist bastard, by the left comes into play. And like the president has said, folks, if we don't have a border, then we don't have a country. And that's all there is to it. And that's why, like I said in the beginning of the broadcast, in 2018, in these midterm elections, if you're going to vote Democrat, then not only are you pro-pedophile, then you're pro-immigrant, you're pro-open borders, you're pro-criminal. Because that's what this is. That's what this is all about. That's the only reason why the Democrats come out and they have any kind of protest, have any kind of opposition to anything. It's when there's something pedophile related, or there's something relating to illegal immigrants that came into this country illegally, or there's something for criminals. That's it. They don't care about the average, everyday, law-abiding American citizen. As a matter of fact, they want to punish the average, everyday American citizen because they hate you. I don't know how much evidence that you have to have put in your face for you people in America to realize that those on the left of the political persuasion in America do not like Americana. They do not like you as an American citizen. They don't like you. That's why every policy that they enact is in complete opposition for what you stand for. And if you're, like I said, a Democrat, I don't know how else you can put this, but you're pro-immigrant, you're pro-illegal immigrant. I mean, you are pro-criminal, you are pro-pedophile. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. This is not fucking propaganda. So I'm glad that the president is going to threaten to shut down the government. Now, you have these Democrats that are going to tout that, well, Ghost, didn't Donald Trump say that Mexico was going to pay for the border wall? I mean, didn't he say that? Yes, you morons, but you're not understanding how. You see, right now, folks, we have an $80 billion trade deficit with Mexico. Now, if we somehow took $20 billion, $25 billion off of that $80 billion that we have in an annual trade deficit with Mexico, that would pay for the wall instantaneously in a snap. You see, it's all about the allocations of sources of funds. And you see, if we are able to negotiate a bilateral trade deal with Mexico that cuts off $25 billion from the $80 billion we have as a deficit, well, then that pays for the border wall, folks. And guess what? We've also considered, and I'm talking about the Trump administration, has also considered that people at the border be charged to come in and out of our border. I mean, and why not, right? Why not? Why not charge $1, $2, right? Hey, if you're from Mexico, you want to come across here to visit, $1, $2, right? $1, $2 coming backwards. I mean, we are going to make Mexico pay for this border wall, whether they like it or not, folks, okay? I mean, the problem is that we have to allocate those resources and those funds appropriately so that we can force them to pay for it, because they're not going to voluntarily pay for it. Mexico's not going to write a check and say, okay, senor, here you go. Here's the $25 billion check for the border wall. Here's the $25 billion check for the border wall. Arriba. They're not going to do that. We have to force their hand. And how do we do that? The art of the deal, baby. Just like my president says, the art of the fucking deal. And believe me, man, this president has produced way more than any president that comes to my mind in contemporary American history, for Christ's sake. Art of the deal. So don't let anybody give you any lip about, well, I thought Donald Trump said that Mexico was going to pay for the border wall. They are. Believe me, they are. All right? And let me tell you something right now. These Democrats, if they want to make the border issue an election issue, well, then they're going to allow the government to shut down without any compromise. And this proves to America that the Democrats care more about illegal immigrants than they do about their own constituency. And it's about time that the American people wake up and realize that these Democrats don't care about you. They don't care about you as your constituency. They care more about illegal immigrants and criminals. I mean, didn't you hear in New York, Cuomo, this pathetic waste of life that is a governor, he actually made it legal for ex-cons to go ahead and vote in the elections in New York. Now, why in the hell would he want ex-cons to be to vote first and foremost? Because the policies that probably let these ex-cons out of prison are the Democrats' leftist policies. So by default, these prisoners who now have the right to vote are going to go right and vote for the Democrats. I mean, this is the strategy of Democrats, folks. They don't care about you. They just care about maintaining power indefinitely. That's it. They don't care about the working man. They don't care about the family. They don't care about your children. Hell, they care more about immigrants' children's well-being than they do your children. And by the way, folks, have you heard these Border Patrol agents and what they talk about these children? That when they put these children in these internment camps, I'm just going to use the vernacular that these leftists like to say, and they're internment camps. Okay, let's just say they're children internment camps. Did you know that the Border Patrol agents have said in many interviews that these children are not innocent children, okay? They're not innocent children, first and foremost. Secondly, as soon as they're in there, they form a hierarchy. They form a hierarchy, and believe it or not, one or two of these kids ends up running the whole internment camp. And those kids end up beating up kids for their cookies and whatever else is being dispensed by the internment camp. I'm not joking around. These are not innocent children. These are not innocent children here. As a matter of fact, folks, do y'all remember the president mentioning several times that ICE, you know, the Democrats, how they want to ban ICE, they want to disband ICE, they want to break up ICE, they want to make ICE illegal. ICE liberated Long Island from MS-13, folks. And did you know that 40% of those MS-13 gang members that were plaguing the streets of Long Island, 40% of them came into the country claiming to be children? I mean, this is what I'm talking about. 40% of those damn MS-13 gang members that were harassing and terrorizing the goddamn Long Island area, 40% of them came in because they claimed to be children. They claimed to be children. Isn't that great? This is what the Democrats are backing up. They don't care about your children. How much evidence do you need in your fucking face? They don't care about you. They don't care about your children. They care about illegal immigrants, criminals, and pedophiles. That's what they care about. And this is not rhetoric. This is not propaganda. These are fucking facts. I don't know how much more evidence you need. I don't know how much more evidence do you need. Anyway, I'm glad the president is threatening to shut down the government. This will force the Democrats either to shit or get off the pot. Do you care about America, or do you care about illegal immigrants? Right before the election, just put them on the spot, Mr. President. Just put their asses on the spot. You're goddamn right. Anyway, let me move on to another subject matter. We're sticking with the president, though. The president here recently threatens to put sanctions on Turkey. Did you hear about this? That's right. The president is threatening to put sanctions on Turkey over a jailed American pastor by the name of Andrew Brunson. Now, Andrew Brunson is an American citizen who had been living in Turkey for the past 20 years. Brunson was recently, well, actually, he wasn't recently arrested. Brunson was arrested in 2016 during that fake coup that Erdogan staged on himself. Y'all remember that coup? July 2016? We were on the air during that whole coup incident, and then that Sunday I had a special broadcast in which I said that not only was it a fake coup, but it was quarterbacked by Putin, and everybody thought I was lying. Everybody thought I didn't know what the hell I was talking about. People were saying, "Ghost, you're lying. I mean, Turkey and Putin wouldn't work together because Turkey shot down Putin's air jets over Syria. So you're lying." 2 weeks later, fucking Erdogan and Putin were hugging and kissing, for Christ's sake. I mean, you know what I'm saying? I'm just saying, the prognosticator, okay? But anyway, this jailed American pastor, Andrew Brunson, he was arrested after the fake coup that Erdogan staged on himself, and according to Erdogan and Turkish authorities, he was a part of this so-called coup that was supposedly meant to overthrow Erdogan. Now, we all know that's a bunch of crap, but secondly, I love the fact that this president is focusing on jailed American citizens abroad and trying everything within diplomatic efforts to try to bring them back home. I mean, that's a breath of fresh air that we have a president that actually cares about American people, that he doesn't want to see them jailed abroad, and will actually do things necessary to bring those Americans back home. First and foremost, I love that about this president. The second thing about this, folks, is that it's time to test Turkey, since Turkey is trying to, be in the background and trying to be this wild card in the Middle East. Because lest we forget, folks, that Turkey is a part of NATO, believe it or not, okay? And they were trying to be a part of the European Union. The only reason it didn't happen was because, well, Erdogan decided to become buddy-buddy with Putin and decided to sign arms deal with Putin. And now we're in this weird standoff with Turkey, or at least the Europeans are. And if you want my opinion, I think that Turkey, or at least Erdogan, is positioning himself to be a kind of a flanking force in a potential conflict between Saudi Arabia and Iran. Now, you all have known this for a while. I have announced that the Trump's foreign policy for the Middle East is to pit a war against Saudi Arabia and Iran. There are many different reasons why this is a good foreign policy, one of which is to bring these powers together so they can bankrupt each other, okay? They can bankrupt each other, first and foremost. Now, lest we forget, Saudi Arabia owns 70% of our debt. So it would be in America's interest if Saudi Arabia had a little bit of financial trouble. Let's just put it that way, okay? Secondly, it's going to draw all the jihadis all over the world to this battle between Sunni and Shiite Muslims, because that's basically what this war is going to be if we finally pit the Saudi Arabians and Iranians together in a war front in the Middle East. It'll be Sunni versus Shiites, and it'll draw all the jihadists that are living abroad to the battlefield whether they're Sunni or Shiites, to practice jihad. I mean, believe it or not, that's what drew the Mujahideen in the late 70s, early 80s during the Afghan-Russian war. If you ask some of the Mujahideen at the time, which are now professors at universities in the Middle East, they'll tell you that the reason that they went out there and fought the Russians was because you read about jihad in the Quran, but you never get to practice jihad. And many of these professors that are now part of big-time universities all over the world that were a part of the Mujahideen during the Afghan-Russian war, that's the excuse they'll give you, that they left their homeland to actually practice jihad, that it would be their once-in-a-lifetime practice of jihad. And jihad is a very holy thing in the Quran. It's a very holy thing in Islam. So as a result, if we pit, once again, Saudi Arabia against Iran, we will lure all these jihadists that are all over the world, whether they're in Western civilizations, whether they're, wherever the hell they are. They're going to converge in the Middle East to choose a side, Sunni or Shiite. Now, in this battle between the Saudi Arabians and the Iranians, Turkey is planning on playing a Mao Zedong-like strategy, in that Mao Zedong, during his 10,000-mile march as a communist, y'all should read the 10,000-mile march. It's what they call Mao Zedong's literally march across China. 10 years, 10,000 miles, Mao marched until he finally took over China. But in the 10,000-mile march, he went from village to village and got more peasants to join the communist guerrilla force. And once Japan Japan invaded China, when the nationalists were still in control under Chiang Kai-shek, the Chinese nationalists who were in control of China at the time had to confront the Japanese invasion. And as the Chinese nationalists and the Japanese were fighting each other on the battlefield, you had the communists, the Chinese communists led by Mao Zedong, flanking both of these goddamn entities as they were fighting each other. So you had the Chinese nationalists and the Japanese fighting each other head on, and then you've got the communist Chinese flanking both of these sons of bitches from the side. And believe it or not, that is how Mao Zedong was ever to take over China, through that militant armed strategy. Now, this is what Turkey, in my opinion, is planning on doing. It is planning on having the war in the Middle East, because they know it's happening. They know it's about to happen. We're already seeing remnants of it. I mean, you have these terrorist satellites that are being funded by Iran, and I've talked about these many times. Hezbollah in Lebanon. You have the Houthis in Yemen. You've got their military assets in Syria. So, I mean, they're there. They're prepared. They're ready for this battle. Even if they lose their country. I think that even if Iran loses their country, they have so much influence in these terrorist satellites that they're ready for battle. They're ready for this. And it's going to be a bloody, bloody war. Now, what else does this help as far as American foreign policy pitting Saudi Arabia against Iran? Well, aside from them going bankrupt, all right, aside from them luring all the jihadists from all over the world to this war front, we will be able to rid the world. And look, I know this sounds sick, but this is how foreign policy is made, folks. We would be able to thin the herd of Islam. Islam has over, 1.2, 1.3 billion people on the planet? 1.3 billion Muslims on the planet. How in the hell are you going to get rid or curb the radicalism of such a huge number? And as I stated, folks, let's just say for the sake of argument that only 10% of Islam is radical. That's 10% of 1.2 or 1.3 billion. And that's a lot of people still. 10% is still a lot of people who, if they happen to be fanatically Islamic and jihadists, that's still a lot of people. How are you going to erase that? How are you going to curb that? How are you going to stop that? How are you going to combat that? Well, as a foreign policy maker of the United States, you have to create an environment in which you induce two entities, one of which is your ally, the other of which is your enemy, in this case in point Iran, to fight against each other so that America's interests are multiplied by 3, 4, 5 times as opposed to directly confronting Iran ourselves unilaterally. So this is how foreign policy works, folks. I know, a lot of you folks out here believe that we can hold hands and sing Kumbaya and that it's going to be a peaceful world. Folks, the world is in a constant state of anarchy. I mean, that's the natural state of the world. Anarchy. I mean, there's nothing at all controlling nation states from going at one another. It's a constant state of anarchy. There's no stability in this world. Stability is based on mutual destruction or mutual annihilation. And this is how foreign policy has to be created. Foreign policy has to be created so that not only it benefits the nation state that you're creating foreign policy for, but it sets forth a plan for the future. And I'm talking long-term plans, 40, 50 years into the future. I mean, this is what foreign policy is. I know it's sick. I know there's a lot of people that don't like this, but this is what Brzezinski and Henry Kissinger and, these types of folk, this is what they have written about. I mean, you have to know that the only way that you can maintain yourself as a nation state in this planet is if you have a decent foreign policy that protects your sovereignty, protects your people, and gives you respect on the world stage. I mean, it's as simple as that, man. And you know who those countries are? Those countries that are blessed with natural resources. Those countries that are blessed with rich natural resources. Because, take a look at these oil-rich countries. Take a look at the Arabs. Take a look at Saudi Arabia. Look at how they've been able to make these big, huge, majestic-like buildings and these metropolises in the desert. Take a look at Dubai. Take a look at the UAE. They've been able to make these utopian-like cities, these really rich cities in the middle of the desert. How and why were they able to do that? They were able to do that because their country is rich with the natural resource of oil, and they can sell that oil on the world market and buy their way into modernity, into modern society. You see, most third world nations, the reason they are third world nations, folks, is because they have no natural resources. All they have is the people, and that's it. There are no deposits of oil. There are no ores of any kind that can make them massive amounts of revenue, like any gold mines. There's no silver mines. There's no uranium. There's no lithium. There's nothing. There's nothing. I mean, that's why third world countries, folks, are third world countries. They are not rich with natural resources. If they were, they'd be in the same modernity that we are. The same modernity that we are. So anyway, all I'm simply stating is, folks, that's what creates a nation state. That's what makes the richness of a nation state, is the natural resources. Now, anyway, back to Turkey. The president is threatening sanctions on Turkey, and the reason he is, folks, is because the president reads right through what the hell Erdogan is doing. Erdogan thinks that he's going to be able to make himself the king of the Middle East by flanking a battle between Saudi Arabia and Iran. Trying to be like Mao Zedong style. And to prevent them from doing that, what the president is doing is threatening sanctions. And we've talked about the Turkish lira, how the currency, that's the current currency of Turkey, it is falling apart to nothing. It is turning into toilet paper and even less than that because of the monetary policy of the central bank. in Turkey. Many people believe that the central bank no longer has autonomy and that it's currently being controlled by Erdogan. So that right there is putting Turkish economy down into a very precarious situation right now. Just imagine when the president asserts sanctions on Turkey if they decide to play hardball about this American pastor that is in prison in Turkey right now, Andrew Brunson. If they decide to play hardball, I think that Erdogan is jeopardizing his rule in Turkey, because right now Turkey is not in a very good economic position whatsoever. I mean, they are not. I mean, the lira is crap. I think the unemployment is in the double-digit arena. They're in a very bad situation, and if we were to throw sanctions on an already bad economic situation, we're going to make the environment in Turkey so uncomfortable that it could jeopardize Erdogan's reign. That coup, that fake coup he threw on himself, won't be fake this next time, because people are going to be starving, people are going to be pissed off. If you don't believe me, Erdogan, if you don't believe me, Turkey, take a look at what's happening to Iran right now. Take a look at what's happening to Iran, thanks to the sanctions that the United States has implemented on Iran. I mean, they have so much domestic unrest at this point in time in Iran. I don't know if they have that much more credibility left, if you want my opinion. And speaking of Iran, folks, did you know that the president, during a press conference with the Prime Minister of Italy today, said that he is open to meet with the president of Iran? You know, he's open to meeting with the president of Iran with no preconditions. None. I mean, come on down. Let's make a deal. And you know what? The Iranians, they've declined such a meeting. They've already declined such a meeting and suggested that they're going to sue. They're going to sue in the world court for the president, President Trump, ripping apart the Iranian nuke deal. Can you believe this? Oh, my God. I'm telling you, what does Iran have over the EU? What does Iran have over the Obama administration, folks? What does Iran have over the administration? I mean, lest we forget, folks, the top advisor, the top foreign advisor for Barack Obama was Valerie Jarrett. You know, the monkey, the broad Roseanne was talking about. Remember that terminology? The reason Roseanne is all in trouble right now, all right? Valerie Jarrett, folks, was born and raised in Iran. Yeah, why don't you go take a look if you don't believe me? She was born and raised in Iran. And we broke the story a couple of weeks ago about Peter Strzok. Peter Strzok being born and raised in Iran, huh? Y'all remember that? What is it? What is it that Iran has over the head of Barack Obama and his administration and the EU? Remember, folks, the European Union wants to sustain the continuity of this ridiculous Iran nuke deal. Why? Why? Why does the EU want to sustain the continuity of the Iran nuke deal? Why? It doesn't make any sense. What does Iran have over these people? I'm just asking, what is it? I mean, it's obviously something. I want to know what it is, and if you want my opinion, I think that Iran has hard evidence. Hard evidence, because remember, their terrorist organizations are on the ground all over the Middle East. I'm sure that they have intelligence agents all over the Middle East. And lest we forget, folks, that this ISIS creation, it has now come out finally. It came out last week that Obama, like I have always said, folks, I've always said this. You all said that I was crazy. You all said that I was nuts. But I said that Barack Obama knowingly armed, trained, and funded ISIS and Al-Qaeda. And as I stated before, that's why Michael Flynn is being persecuted by Manafort, by Mueller, and Manafort too, by that matter. But Michael T. Flynn is being persecuted by Robert Mueller because Michael Flynn was one of the first people to come out publicly and state that Barack Obama funded, trained, and armed ISIS and the Salafist movement in the Middle East. I mean, right after he retired from being the head of the DIA, the Defense Intelligence Agency, which is the equivalent of the CIA in the Pentagon. He said that it was Barack Obama's his willful, I should say, it was Barack Obama's willful decision to arm, train, and fund ISIS and Al-Qaeda. Now, I personally believe that Iran has some hard evidence that suggests that they did do what we all know they did, which was fund, train, and armed ISIS, pretended that, we were enemies of ISIS. Remember, I mean, don't y'all find it rather odd that Barack Obama couldn't do anything about ISIS, and ISIS was going all over Syria, all over the Middle East, all over Iraq, chopping off Christians' heads, throwing gays off buildings, and doing all this nonsense, and yet right when Donald Trump takes power, he obliterates ISIS like it never existed. I mean, they're on the run. I mean, they're sporadically all over the world at this point in time. You want to know why? Because all Trump had to do was cancel that goddamn CIA operation to disband the whole ISIS garbage. That's why you have Trump talking garbage about the former CIA director, John Brennan. Brennan, folks, and it's been confirmed by people who used to work under him, this guy has converted to Islam, all right? I mean, he's spent I don't know how many years in Saudi Arabia. He's fluent in Arabic, all right? I mean, this guy, John Brennan, is a goddamn traitor to his own country. I mean, and that's why you have the president wanting to revoke his security clearance on top of Clapper and on top of Susan Rice and a bunch of other Obama holdovers, because these people are jeopardizing the integrity of our government just so that they can implement their policies, just so that they can make Trump look like he has egg on his face. You know? I'm serious. It makes me sick, man. It makes me sick to my stomach. I mean, this president, he could do the best of the best job. He could walk on water. He could feed every human child in the world, and they would still bitch and moan about the president. This immense hatred for Trump is just uncanny. It's insanity, to be honest with you. It's completely insane. I mean, hell is not frozen over. I mean, jobs are plethora. The economic activity and productivity of this country is through the roof. I mean, I don't understand why everybody's bitching and moaning. I don't understand it. I don't understand this immense hatred for Trump. This immense hatred for Trump, man. It's because he's not a part of the swamp, folks. It's because he's not a part of the D.C. swamp. It's as simple as that. Anyway, let me move on to another subject matter, folks. Let's continue on with the president, since we're talking about him. The president's lawyer, Rudolph Giuliani, the ex-mayor, the ex-prosecutor, says that the Cohen tapes are a big nothing burger, just like I have suggested that these tapes are big nothing burgers. And not to mention, Rudolph Giuliani has suggested that he's had his own audio experts go over these tapes, and he suggests that they've been doctored. They've been doctored, they've been tampered with, and any evidence of any doctoring or tampering with, obviously means that this guy, Cohen, has some kind of motive, for whatever reason, to bring down his former client. Now, I want everybody to know that Giuliani made it abundantly clear this morning on Fox and Friends that it wasn't just the president that Michael Cohen, ex-attorney for Donald Trump, was recording. It wasn't just Trump. According to Rudolph Giuliani, he has gotten a hold of hundreds. According to the reports, there's hundreds of these recordings that Michael Cohen was recording. And it wasn't Trump. It was his client. This is what he did. He recorded his own clients for whatever reason. Yeah. Michael Cohen, there's like, I don't know, hundreds of recordings of all his clients. It's as if this guy was trying to oy vey shut it down and trying to have dirt on each and every one of his clients, quote, just in case. I mean, that's what the hell it looks like to me. I mean, when they raided his offices and when they raided his home, this is what they found. They found hundreds of recordings of Michael Cohen and his clients. Two, according to Giuliani, two of these recordings that were found were of Donald Trump. That's it. That's it. And the two recordings that are there, big nothing burgers. All right? Absolute fucking nothing burgers, for Christ's sake. Nothing illegal. I mean, nothing. Nothing. And yet, you've got all these assholes on the left-wing, long-haired, liberal, bedwetting, hippie media out here that are trying to chastise the president, suggesting the president should be impeached, suggesting the president did treason and this and that. I mean, come on, first and foremost, and I'm glad that Rudolph Giuliani put this on the table this morning on Fox and Friends. All right, he said the following, that collusion is not a crime, okay? And remember I said that long ago? Remember when I said that? Remember? I said, and I said this, all right, that, hold on, people are saying that the stream is offline. What's going on? The stream is offline. Hold on just a second. People are telling me in the chat room that the damn stream is offline. I'm not seeing that the stream is offline. Just refresh. Anyway, back what I was saying. Rudolph Giuliani has put it into context. He's put it into context and he said, look, even if there was collusion, collusion is not a crime. And I've suggested this many times. I said, look, worst case scenario, that there is collusion between Trump and Russia, which there's not. There hasn't been any evidence of it. Robert Mueller and his special counsel have been investigating almost 2 goddamn years. Almost 2 years, over $20 million spent, and all they've got is nothing. They've got nothing. But like Giuliani said, he underscores that collusion is not a crime, because if it was a crime, folks, just think about this for a second. If collusion was a crime, shouldn't Hillary Clinton be going to jail right now since she admitted that she paid for the Russian dossier from Fusion GPS? And haven't we already established that the guy who created the Russian dossier, Christopher Steele, this son of a bitch used Russian assets to compile this Russian dossier? So that means he had to pay Russian assets? So that means they had to pay from the money that Hillary Clinton and the Democrats gave Fusion GPS to compile this goddamn dossier? I mean, good God, can you get any more collusion than that? Can you get any more Russian collusion than Hillary Clinton paying for a Russian dossier from Fusion GPS, who utilized Russian assets to obtain the information on Trump? I mean, isn't that Russian collusion? Of course it is. And is Hillary Clinton going to see any kind of justice for that? Absolutely not. Why? Why? Because there is no law against collusion, all right? It's like when Peter Strzok changed the wording on James Comey's announcement on whether or not Hillary Clinton was going to be charged in the email investigation. Y'all remember that? Peter Strzok was the guy who changed the words negligent to careless and unsophisticated. And that's why you saw that emphasized in the testimony with Comey and in Congress. He kept repeating over and over, I can't find any case where somebody was tried for being careless and unsophisticated. It is not a part of the statute. And we had congressmen saying, but isn't negligence a part of the statute? Yes, negligence is a part of the statute, but I just don't feel that there is any negligence here. There was no intent to be negligent. They were just careless and unsophisticated. Can you believe that? Comey actually testified to this. Actually testified to this garbage. So, once again, folks, I mean, this is what I'm telling you. What Robert Mueller is doing right now is Robert Mueller is trying to get the president on an obstruction charge. Now, how the hell, and I talked about this on Friday's show, how are you going to charge somebody with obstruction to a crime that they did not commit? I mean, can you explain that to me, Robert Mueller? How are you trying to get the president on an obstruction charge on a crime he didn't commit? I mean, he was justified in firing James Comey. I mean, lest we forget Rod Rosenstein, who is about to be impeached, by the way, who is now the Deputy Attorney General of the Department of Justice. Rod Rosenstein wrote the president a memo suggesting to fire James Comey. So, I mean, what exactly are they trying to get the president on obstruction on? How are they doing? I don't understand this. And now, we reported this on Friday, you've got Robert Mueller, after almost 2 years of investigation and over $20 million spent, now he's investigating the tweets of the president. Oh, that's it. Yep, he's cracked the case. Robert Mueller has cracked the fucking case. He is going to public tweets, and now he's going to use public tweets as a means of building an obstruction case. I mean, Robert Mueller, you are an incompetent piece of trash. I'm telling you right now, this Robert Mueller special counsel needs to end. It needs to cease to exist. It is a politically weaponized tool by the Democrats, if anything, because take a look at all the prosecutors that comprise the Robert Mueller special counsel. It's filled with a bunch of Democrats. I mean, one of the guys that is on this special counsel actually was at the Hillary Clinton after party during Election Day. Can you believe this crap? I'm sick of this corruption, and I'm sick of these idiots being too big to jail. I keep asking this. You keep hearing me say this over and over and over, but I'm telling you, are these people too big to jail, man? Are the American people going to rise up and demand justice? I don't know. I don't fucking know. But I don't think that justice is going to be served on any of these corrupt pieces of deep state, non-elected bureaucratic crap. I don't think that any kind of justice is going to be implemented whatsoever. Whatsoever. I'm telling you right now. And I'm glad the president tweeted out this morning, giving a little bit of a tweet lashing at goddamn Robert Mueller, because I've been saying this for months, that why is Robert Mueller able to continue with the special counsel with all the conflicts of interest that this son of a bitch has? All the conflicts of interest. I mean, you can go on. You can write a 10-page treatment on all the goddamn inside conflicts of interest that Robert Mueller has as it pertains to this case. Good God, man. It's time to end this crap. I'm telling you, I am so tired of seeing that disgusting, big-jowled, wrinkled bastard Robert Mueller's face. I'm sick and tired of seeing him. Like he's some above-the-law Elliot Ness bastard or something, man. I'm sick of him. I mean, Robert Mueller is as corrupt as the swamp itself. Like I said, this was the son of a bitch who was the FBI director during 9/11/2001. He was the FBI director that directed the FBI to confiscate all videos with vantage point of the Pentagon attack. So if there was a video that had a vantage point from a hotel or from a gas station, it was confiscated by the FBI, folks. Those videos exist. We could get an actual video vantage point on what hit the Pentagon, but they're sitting somewhere in some FBI vault somewhere, and we're never going to see them. We're probably never going to see them for another 50, 60 years. And then by the time they're unearthed, it's like, oops, well, we were corrupt back then, so what? Who's looking? Jesus Christ, man. I mean, are we going to see justice on these people, man? I'm serious. On James Comey, on Peter Strzok, Lisa Page, Andrew McCabe, Bruce Orr, his wife Nellie Orr. I mean, are we going to see justice on these people, man? These people weaponized the Department of Justice and the FBI, jeopardizing the integrity of our very government itself. And what? These people, because they're unelected, bureaucratic, deep state assholes, that they're above the law? I'm telling you, if nothing happens to these people, then there is no justice. If nothing happens to these people, there is no justice in this country. But anyway, back to the president. The president's lawyer, Rudolph Giuliani, says the Cohen tapes, are a big nothing burger. And by the way, what kind of an attorney secretly tapes his clients? I mean, according to Giuliani, there were hundreds of tapes confiscated in the raid of Michael Cohen's offices, home, and hotel rooms, etc. Hundreds of recordings, 2 of which had the president on it. And both of those recordings, a big nothing burger. I mean, what kind of credibility does Michael Cohen expect to have when he's recording his clients privately? I mean, aside from him getting disbanded from the bar as a lawyer, I mean, this has got to be, again, some kind of lawyer-client privilege, for heaven's sake. And aside from that, do y'all remember, I mean, I love how Democrats do this. I love how Democrats do this. Do y'all remember when they were talking garbage about Michael Cohen, and they hated Michael Cohen, and they thought that he was Trump's stooge, and, you know, all this crap? But now that he's leaking out a couple of damn audio recordings of Trump and whatever Cohen thinks he has, which is a big nothing burger, all of a sudden the Democrats think that Michael Cohen is a fucking hero. Now all of a sudden they think that Michael Cohen has the credibility of a fucking altar boy or a nun. Now they've got this newfound respect for Michael Cohen. I mean, do you understand how these leftists think? They have no goddamn morals. They have no dignity. They have no respect for anybody, let alone themselves. I mean, what sense does that make anyway, folks? How can 1 minute you're talking garbage about Michael Cohen, that he's a stooge of the president, and you hate him, and he's doing the president's bidding, and you hate Trump, and oh, I hate Michael Cohen, and I hate Trump. He's protecting Trump, and I can't stand him. Now, all of a sudden, he's shitting out a bunch of recordings that he recorded unethically and illegally of his own clients. And now you've got the left championing this crap. I mean, what if that was you, folks? What if that was you? You're in a precarious situation. You think that you're talking to your attorney. You think you're talking to your attorney. You think this is a private conversation. I mean, you're at a very vulnerable point when you have to talk to an attorney, folks, all right? I mean, you have to admit some things to your attorney that no one should be privy to, okay? Let alone a court of law, let alone a fucking audio recording of it, etc. I mean, what if this was you in a proceeding, you know, where your life's on the line or some kind of court case or whatever, and you're confiding in this guy? You're confiding in this guy to help you out of a situation, because that's what lawyers do. Lawyers are supposed to help you out of these precarious, fucked up situations that you put yourself into. They're not supposed to exploit it, and that's what Michael Cohen was doing by recording his clients. He was completely trampling on the lawyer-client privilege, folks, and every one of the recordings that he made should not only not be admissible in court, but he should be charged for a crime for illegally recording his clients unbeknownst to them. Because why would Michael Cohen, parentheses, 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 why else would he be recording his own clients? Why else would he be recording his own clients unless it was for blackmail? I mean, why else? Why else would he be recording? I mean, according to Rudolph Giuliani, there were hundreds of recordings of Michael Cohen and his clients. Only two recordings, according to Giuliani, belong to Trump, and it was a nothing burger. It's a nothing burger, man. If this is all you got, I mean, seriously, Mueller and the left, if this is all you got, then you ain't got crap. You ain't got nothing. I mean, this is a shame. This is a shame. 2 years a special counsel crawling up the president's ass, $20 million of taxpayer money, over $20 million of taxpayer money spent on this special counsel, and this is all they got. They got Robert Mueller investigating public tweets and a couple of tapes that were recorded illegally, breaking the lawyer-client privilege. That's great, Mueller. I'm telling you, you're sure building your legacy today. Jesus Christ. It makes me sick! It should make everybody sick, man! Anyway, we are now in the third and final hour of the True Capitalist Radio broadcast. And of course, I am your host, the man they call Ghost. And once again, folks, I want to thank you very much for tuning in with me. Before we get started on anything else, I'd like to remind everybody to please spread this show link around like wildfire, all right? Because if you're listening to the sound of my voice, you're listening to the underground. Spread it around the internets and throughout the world and let everybody know that True Capitalist Radio is in effect and in the house, and we are live every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, 6:30 p.m. Central Standard Time, right here on the official website of the True Capitalist Radio broadcast, and it is... And I love being independent now. Type this in your browser and add it to your bookmarks, all right? Ghost.report. It's as simple as that. Type that in your browser, add that to your bookmarks, add that to your favorites. Ghost.report is the official website to be... And that's the official website of the show. And by the way, if you have not... If you're not following me on Gab, then what the hell are you doing? Gab is the last bastion of freedom of speech on the internet today. So get yourself a free account. Type in your browser gab.ai and get yourself a free account. And once you do, follow me, all right? Follow me under the name Politics Ghost. All one word, no underscores. Politics Ghost is the name to follow, all right? And I also want to remind everybody that we have Ghost.market up and running, baby. That's right, we're selling merch. We're selling merch, and we're going to add new merch as days go by, all right? So that's another thing to add to your favorites right now, folks. We got True Capitalist Radio apparel. We've got Russian hacker apparel with what looks like Putin's face on it. That's a great shirt, by the way. We got Remove Kebab apparel. And by the way, we also have Ask Me About My Crypto apparel. Baby, we have all kinds of merch. All kinds of merch. So if you're interested in it, go ahead and check it out. Type in your browser right now, ghost.market. That's as simple as that. Just type that in your browser, ghost.market. All right? And by the way, folks, we want to extend this broadcast to 5 days a week like it used to. Now, the reason that we're no longer 5 days a week is because we got demonetized. Like most people on the right, we are being persecuted by a bunch of people. Autists, leftists, posholes, you name it. And as a result, they've demonetized my show on Blog Talk Radio, where I used to broadcast. I used to make around $3,000 to $4,000 a month just broadcasting on there from Blog Talk Radio, and as a result, that is no longer a reality. So as a result, we had to go to 3 times a week. 3 times a week. Now, I want to bring it back to 5 times a week, folks, but, you have to understand I'm a capitalist, and not that I need the money, but it is something that I need so that if I'm taking my emphasis away from my brick-mortar businesses, because I've got a lot of brick-mortar businesses, man. If I'm taking away my attention from that, it'll be offset by whatever's being made on this broadcast, And this broadcast is a lot more important, in my opinion, because I'm trying to create capitalists, not just here in America, but throughout the world. So, with that being said, folks, okay, if you can't buy merch, if you haven't bought an autograph or anything in the past, take a look at the cryptocurrency wishing well on Ghost.report. Okay? And especially you guys that have made major crypto on some of my advice out here, why don't you throw some crypto into the cryptocurrency wishing well and make a wish. And all your wishes will come true. And the reason that we're doing this, folks, is because they have limited us as it pertains to monetization. They have limited us on where we can create and make transactions. They are trying to stop us in every which way possible. As a matter of fact, folks, if you take a look at the last broadcast, episode number 597, during that broadcast, there was somebody actually relaying the broadcast on another network platform, and they got instantaneously banned during my mid-broadcast because they are trying to stop us, folks. There is a systematic attempt on trying to stop the True Capitalist Radio broadcast, and we can't let them. I mean, that's why I'm independent, folks. That's why I've got my own website. I've got my own goddamn stream. I've got my own broadcast. So all these goddamn pansy-ass, poshole, goddamn snowflake, leftist, autist, I don't give a shit who you are. If y'all are going to stop me, you can't stop me. I'm independent now. I'm independent. And that's why supporting independent media is so goddamn important, folks. It's so goddamn important because if we don't, then we are at the whim of the talking heads that are trying to mold the narrative in the mainstream. I mean, take a look at the talking heads on MSNBC, CNN, whatever network on the mainstream media. They're not delivering you news and information. They're not delivering you the straight political dope. They are molding. They are molding your perception. And that's why, folks, we have to continue what we're starting here on the internet. Everybody gets their news and information in different ways. A lot of people get their news and information from independent media. A lot of people get their news and information from, a podcast like this or independent publications, etc. And there's nothing wrong with that, folks, because this is the only arena in which you're going to get the unadulterated truth. And what's so beautiful about podcasts like myself is that you can double-check anything that I'm saying. It's beautiful about it. That's why I like it. If you hear something that I'm saying, whether you agree or disagree, it forces you to look it up. And it forces you to learn about something. That's why I like doing what I'm doing on this internet. And that's why I try to extend my hand and, whatever you can do, you can do. Try to support this broadcast. Even if you can't support it monetarily. Even if you can't buy anything, even if you can't throw anything into the cryptocurrency wishing well, then by God, spread the link. Spread the word about this broadcast. All right? I mean, it's as simple as that, man. You don't have to be blowing cash if you don't have the cash. Just go out there and tell people about the broadcast, man. We need this. No one in the mainstream is going to aid us. This broadcast is not advertised. I mean, if you are listening to this broadcast, then you're listening to the underground, baby. You're listening to the political underground. You're listening to a broadcast that they're trying to stop, that they're trying to silence, that they deem dangerous. I was rejected by one of these internet marketing companies because they suggested that my website was dangerous. It was dangerous. Oh, my God, what a bunch of pansy asses. Anyway, folks, if you cannot support the show monetarily, just spread the link. Go to the forum posts, go to the blogs, go to the chat rooms, go to the vlogs, go out there and let everybody know about True Capitalist Radio. That's all I ask, baby. That's all I ask. Anyway, let's get to the next subject matter before we move on to anything else. Did y'all hear about the Attorney General Jeff Sessions, baby? Attorney General Jeff Sessions announces Religious Liberty Task Force to protect the freedom of religion. Oh, man! Oh, man! What did I tell you gays? What did I tell you LGBTQ for the past several shows? I was saying because of your arrogance and because you are trying to act like an authoritarian with your protected class, you are going to force America to put you back in the closet. And I hate to say this because I really don't have problems with anybody's sexual orientation. I just have a problem with the movement that is the LGBTQ. Because what are they doing at this point in time? What is the agenda of the LGBTQ as a movement? Trying to spread LGBTQ ideology to children. And that's why, if you take a look at my gab, folks, I've gabbed out videos of drag queens reading to children. I've tweeted out, or I've gabbed out, I should say, excuse me. I've gabbed out this one 9-year-old transgendered from New York who is opening up a club for other transgendered children 12 and under. I've gabbed about the infamous 11-year-old drag queen Lactasia. Yeah. I mean, this is where it's heading, folks. It's heading for your children. And thank God that Jeff Sessions has announced a religious liberty task force to protect the freedom of religion. Now, what does this mean? Well, let me explain what Jeff Sessions said, and then I'll explain to you what this is all about. Jeff Sessions said today at a Liberty Religious Summit, he said, a dangerous movement, undetected by many but real, is now challenging and eroding religious freedoms. Sessions goes on to say, there can be no doubt it's no little matter. It must be confronted intellectually and politically defeated. Now, what this Religious Liberty Task Force is all about, it is going to allow those of us who have religious beliefs against homosexuality or cutting off penises for sex change operations or, giving away contraceptions, whatever, the ability to not condone this activity, okay? I mean, I'm not joking around. No more LGBT taking business owners to court because, they didn't bake their cake. No more nuns being forced to give out birth control. No more, drag sex education for 5-year-olds. None of this crap anymore, okay? It is time to protect not just religious freedom, but freedom of conscience. This is another realm that the Religious Freedom Task Force is emphasizing. That we are going to protect people who have a certain bias, a certain religious bias, a certain religious belief against homosexuality, against the sexualization of children, against all this perversion, or a conscience not to want to be involved in such activity. This is now going to be protected, folks. This is now going to be protected. Now we are no longer, as far as business owners are concerned, we're no longer under the thumb of LGBTQ. I mean, this religious task force is going to be in the Office of Civil Rights. And it's going to protect religious and conscious rights. And if we don't feel that we want to service an LGBTQ or a pansexual or a two-spirited or a drag queen or whatever the case might be because of my conscience or my religious beliefs, it is now going to be protected by law in America today. And, I know that a lot of you LGBTQ people are like, oh my God, I can't believe this. It's a war against LGBTQ. I can't believe it. Let me tell you, LGBTQ, something. This president that's in power right now, President Donald Trump, attempted to give an olive branch to the LGBTQ. Do y'all remember in the 2016 Republican Convention that he asked the Republican Convention to give a round of applause to those Republicans that happen to be LGBTQ, and the Republican Convention reluctantly gave an applause? I mean, you couldn't get any more of an olive branch than that. And instead of taking the olive branch and the LGBTQ working with the current administration to advance its objectives, which obviously is pedophilia, because I guess that's why they didn't want to work with Trump, because they knew Trump wasn't down with that garbage. But instead of working with Trump to help facilitate their community into a more supposed equal footing in this society, they decided to go the leftist lunacy route and decided to just go against Trump en masse. Now, if anybody happens to be diving on muffs, playing the flesh flute, or taking it up the pooper, it is mandatory now that you are anti-Trump. You are anti-Trump. And all these gays, all these people, they just hate Trump. They think he's homophobic. They think he's against gays. And they've just been against him for the past 2 years. Almost 2 years this president has been in office. And it's about time the president says, hey, wait a minute. I tried to give an olive branch to the LGBTQ, and all they did was cut their freaking wrists open and try to infect me with the AIDS by squirting their blood on me. Instead of saying, hey, look, the president actually likes us. He really likes us. And instead of working with the president to achieve whatever objective you LGBTQ idiots want, you decided to be a part of the liberal lunacy, and now it's coming back around to bite you in the ass, isn't it? And it's not biting you in the ass in the way you would like to, LGBTQ. It has now put you in a level playing field like you have always advocated, okay? Because, and this is the reason why I'm glad Sessions announced this, and why this is going to be the new administration's policy to protect conscious and religious freedom. Because ever since we allowed the LGBTQ to have oral copulation between two men across the street from an elementary school, ever since we gave these folks the rights to do what they wanted to do, they've just been more and more totalitarian about it. I hear in Toronto, you know, the city that had that mass shooting, and their first liberal response is to take away the gun rights of native Canadians in Toronto. That's the liberal response. Well, these Toronto morons are now protesting a potential Chick-fil-A that is going to be built in Toronto because, they're not for gays. I don't understand what the hell that's supposed to mean. I mean, they're out there protesting. They're out there causing disobedience. They're out there with picket signs. They're out there calling Chick-fil-A a hate restaurant in Toronto because the folks that run Chick-fil-A are devout religious Christians. And that's why they're closed on Sunday, because they are Christian. They don't believe that Sunday is a day of work. They believe that Sunday is a day of rest. They don't believe in paying for insurance that's going to pay for birth control, or that's going to pay for a fucking sexual reassignment surgery, because it goes against their religious beliefs. And just because the folks from Chick-fil-A have religious beliefs, we have to stop them, according to the LGBTQ. According to the LGBTQ, we've got to stop them. We've got to protest them. We've got to make them pay. Just like the autist. Doesn't it sound like autist? Anyway, folks, we've had enough of this totalitarian LGBTQ movement. And because you all in the LGBTQ community decided that you wanted to just be leftists and you didn't want to at least attempt to work with this president, now you're going to pay the piper. Now you're going to pay the goddamn piper. Because now, if you come into my business and you look too fruity for my liking, I can tell you to get the hell out. And you can go and call an attorney, and you can go piss and moan all you want to, but you're infringing on my fucking religious beliefs! My religious beliefs! Or hell, even if it isn't a religious belief, a belief of conscience. I mean, I have the right to have a conscience, for Christ's sake. Jesus Christ. But, these LGBTQ, they're going to continue to bitch and moan. And you know what? Let them. Let them go ahead and bitch and moan. Because I'm going to be honest with you, LGBTQ, you all are now being phased out. And what do I mean by that? Well, I don't know if you heard here recently, but compulsive sexual behavior is now considered a mental disorder. Compulsive sexual behavior is now a mental disorder. So that means that all of you gays that like to go out and have unprotected sex and go on Grindr and go on Jacks, service glory holes, and have all this unprotected sex, it is now considered a mental disorder for that type of sexual impulsiveness. And in my personal opinion, I think it is. And why is it just because you say that you're homosexual and you've got pride? I've got pride. June was Pride Month, and I have a lot of pride. What kind of pride do you have of yourself when you're out there not protecting yourself in a very dangerous sexual position? And when you're afflicted with the ailments because you didn't protect yourself sexually, you think that it's okay to go out and pause someone's neg hole. I mean, where's the pride in that? Where's the pride in not respecting yourself? Where's the pride in, turning LGBTQ into a death cult? Where's the pride in this? I'm telling you, man, you LGBTQ, you brought this on yourselves. You brought this on yourselves, and you could have worked with the president. You could have, you didn't have to go the liberal lunacy route. Now you did. Now you did. And you know what? You're not going to win any brownie points by bringing people to your side by sexualizing children, LGBTQ. That's why everybody is starting to take a different look at your persuasion now. They're taking a different look because for whatever reason, you just can't leave children alone. You can't leave children alone. You want to go, you want to sexualize them. And like I said, folks, if you know some child that claims to be gay under the age of 11, the first thing you need to ask them is, who molested you? I mean, can we be adults and realize, and just say it blatant, that LGBTQ is nothing more but how one likes to fuck? How one likes to fuck. That's all it is. It's not the equivalent of being black. It's not the equivalent of being a fucking Mexican, all right? It's how you like to fuck. Hey, you want to stop being gay? Stop sucking cocks. Stop taking in the ass. The longer you do that, the longer you're not gay. I mean, it's not like being black. You can't wash the black off unless you have the money of Sammy Sosa. But even then, do you want to look like Sammy Sosa now? I'm serious, man. I'm sick and tired of these gays trying to equate themselves as ethnic minorities. They are not, all right? They are not. And not to mention, you fucking gays, you LGBTQ bastards, okay? There's nothing special about you because you like to take it in the pooper, you like to dive on muffs, or you like to play the flesh flute, all right, bitch tits? There's nothing special about you, and I'm tired of it. I'm tired of hearing all these goddamn videos. I mean, folks, there was a video that was promoted by YouTube during Pride Month this past June in which it showed all these, and look, I don't know why gays are getting uglier and uglier, but they are. All these ugly, queer, tranny, disgusting gays doing whatever it is, flailing around, doing whatever it is. It was this compilation, this collage of gays, this video collage of gays. And many of them were saying, I am so powerful because I am proud to be gay. I'm so powerful. What the fuck is so powerful about spreading your ass cheeks open and taking man meat? I mean, what's so powerful about getting on your knees and praying good? What the fuck is so goddamn... I don't get it. But I'm tired of these gays fucking making themselves equivalent to something special because they take it in the ass. I don't care what you do sexually. But do I need to know that? I mean, seriously, is that the first thing you have to tell everybody? Is that the first thing people have to know about you? Is how you like to fuck? I mean, seriously, is that all that defines you? I'm just telling you, folks, you all that are LGBTQ, I want to be honest with you. I know you think y'all are all powerful. I know you think you're all a big, hardcore voting bloc. But with all due respect, y'all are all dying. I mean, for whatever reason, y'all, as a community, don't protect yourselves. I've seen it firsthand. I've seen you sick, demented gays purposely pause neg holes of young 18-year-old, 19-year-old right pieces of ass because you're a sexual deviant and you want to rob people of their opportunities of life because you couldn't stop it. You couldn't stop being a sexual deviant. And now that you've got the AIDS, you want to infect everybody else with the AIDS. And that's sexual impulsive behavior, which they just named a mental disorder. So you see what direction we're going down now, LGBTQ, and it's all your fucking fault. It's all your fault. It's just like the Occupy protest. What have I told you about the Occupy protests? The most recent Occupy protest was in Portland, Oregon, folks, in which you had a bunch of Occupy leftist, wannabe socialist assholes that were occupying the front of ICE and the immigration offices in Portland. And even liberal Portland had to move in by force and force these people out of their Occupy situation because it became a biohazard and a rape-filled situation. And this is what I'm telling you, socialist. How are you going to convey to the average, everyday Joe Six-Pack, Mr. and Mrs. Joe Six-Pack America, how are you going to convey socialism when the Occupy little protests that you have turn into a garbage mound of biohazard waste? Folks, did you all see what was left over after that Occupy protest in Portland? There was feces. There was all kinds of disgusting filth. It was a biohazard situation. I mean, don't you socialists realize that if you're going to be a socialist or a communist, that you have to be collective-minded? Don't you understand that you have to show the majority of people that your way is the more viable way, is the more civilized way? How are you all doing that with these Occupy protests in which you do nothing but turn this Occupy protest into a biohazard criminal situation? You're not going to win any brownie points doing that. I mean, if you wanted to win brownie points with Mr. and Mrs. Joe Six-Pack and you people are leftists, you people are communists and socialists, wouldn't it behoove you to make sure that all the places that you're occupying are spot clean so that you could show that socialists can be civilized and they can be civilized through a collective philosophy? But you see, the reason that y'all can't do that at these Occupy protests is because y'all aren't thinking like a collective. Y'all are thinking individually, and that's moot. You don't get to be individuals in collective political ideologies. In political systems in which socialism and communism is implemented, you don't have the right to be an individual. You don't have the right to do stuff that you want to do. And as a result, folks, all these people that are out there protesting socialism and communism, what are they doing? They're being selfish. They're being egotistical. That's why these so-called socialists and communists, these people don't care about the collective. They don't care about being one with the common man. They don't care about redistributing the goddamn wealth to the appropriate people. You want to know why most people are communist and socialist? Because it's all about me, I, my. Just listen to a goddamn socialist when they got a goddamn fucking microphone in their face. Just listen to them. I want free college. I want free health care. I want free food. I want this. I want that. It's not about the collective. It's never about the collective. And that's why every time you have these Occupy protests, I say let them do it. Let them show Mr. and Mrs. Joe Sixpack what you will get if you vote this crap into power. Because if you take a look at the remnants that was left over in that Oregon protest in front of ICE, in front of the immigration offices, it looks like the streets of Venezuela. It looks like the streets of Venezuela. So all of you people that are infatuated with socialism and communism, why don't you try to persuade us that socialism and communism is a civilized situation? You can't. You can't do it. No one is just going to do something for the collective. Everybody is selfish. That is an innate quality of human beings. We're all selfish. That's why capitalism is the greatest social organization ideology on the planet. Because under capitalism, folks, you could be as selfish as you fucking want. You could pursue your selfish interest for as long as you want to. And by default, you help the collective by spending your money. You understand that? By pursuing your own selfish interest, by getting a job or owning a business and making money, you spending that money forces you to help the collective. Do you see what I'm saying, folks? Capitalism utilizes the innate selfishness in human beings and forwards that to help the collective, not by force, not by some dictatorship of the proletariat, not by some collective, but by default. And you see, this is what the socialists and communists don't understand. Because they don't want to make money. They don't know how to create wealth. All they know how to do is claim that they can redistribute all the wealth to other people when they don't, when they can't. Every time it's been applied, it's never worked. Because even if you have a dictatorship of the proletariat that redistributes the wealth, you're going to have a plethora of corruption at the government level in which the government bureaucrats become the elites of society. We see that in communist China. I mean, communist China, folks, there ain't no private property. You have to lease property for 70 years. The billionaires, there is no private citizen that is a billionaire. All the billionaires are in the communist government. This is centralization of power. And there's no way that you're going to advocate centralization of power, socialism and communism, and be able to project anything civil, because it isn't civil. It isn't civil. Anyway, folks, my apologies. I didn't mean to get too long-winded on that subject matter. But you LGBTQ folks and you socialists and communists, you can already pretty much consider your philosophies defeated. Because they make no sense, nor have you applied these ideologies to a successful nation state, let alone a successful protest. Like I said, it'd be one thing, wouldn't you have a different perspective on people in the Occupy movement if they were occupying a location based on protesting a certain issue and they kept it clean? Everybody was well fed. They policed themselves. No women were raped. There's all kinds of rape going on at all these goddamn Occupy protests. No one was being raped. No one was being victimized. Self-policed. You would think a little different. You see, that's why a lot of these baby boomers believe in this socialist ideology, in this communist ideology. Because, folks, believe it or not, these people actually believed it. They lived it. Many of these boomers that were so fanatical about communism and socialism, they actually moved to Cuba. They actually moved to China. They actually moved to Russia. I'm not joking. I mean, they were that devout communist and socialist. And what really made the baby boomer socialist, folks, and I strongly advise everybody to look at this movie, I've said this many times before, Woodstock. All right, and that movie, believe it or not, was a documentary directed by Martin Scorsese, of all people. But if you take a look at that movie, Woodstock, it'll show you how these kids, ranging from 18 to about 24, 25 years old on average, were self-aware politically, socially, and economically at a very young age. And aside from them being politically and socially aware, they were one of the most mature at a very young age generations in American history, unfortunately. And why do I say that? Because if you take a look at Woodstock, Woodstock was an attempt at trying to be a counterculture to what the government status quo was at the time. And the government status quo was what was in power at the time, these, Vietnam Wars, expanding, the war state. Remember, there was a draft back then, so there was a reason why the baby boomers were very much awake politically, because by the time they were 18, more than likely, they were probably going to be drafted into the Vietnam War. So, because this system in America was this enemy that the baby boomers thought that was their enemy, because remember, they were drafting people in the Vietnam War, no one really understood why the Vietnam War was happening, and as a result, that's what lured a lot of these baby boomers to socialism. Now, back to Woodstock. Now, in Woodstock, it was meant to be a slap in the face to the government system. Because, lest we forget, the baby boomers were all the drug culture, the sexual revolution. A lot of things were happening at that particular time. So what the government tried to do was they tried to sabotage the event. What they did was they created a perimeter around the actual event so that whoever got in couldn't get out, and whoever got out couldn't get back in or couldn't get in, period. So basically, everybody that was there at Woodstock was there. Secondly, the people who organized the actual Woodstock concert, they took a huge loss, because once people realized they couldn't leave because cars were backed up for miles and there was a damn perimeter preventing people from leaving, they overran the gates of Woodstock and it became a free concert. And because there was so much bad things that were happening at Woodstock, the guys who promoted the concert, the guys who put up the money, said, fuck it. All right, we already taken a loss. It's a free concert. The hell with it. And they believed it. They put their necks on the line for this leftist ideology. They threw away the idea of capitalism and said that the show must go on. Now, as the show went on in Woodstock, folks, the government was not going to allow Woodstock to happen. So what did they do? If you take a listen to some of the people at Woodstock in this movie, they were claiming that the government was circling around with all kinds of helicopters and jets, which they were, trying to seed the clouds to cause a rainstorm over Woodstock, which ended up happening, believe it or not, okay? A rainstorm started happening in Woodstock. Now, the promoters of the event were so freaked out because there was a lot of electricity running to the Woodstock stage. And they were afraid that if something bad happened and there was an exposed wire or anything to that capacity, you could have a mass electrocution of hundreds of thousands of people, because lest we forget that water is a conductor and you could literally electrify massive amounts of people. So they were really scared about that, but they let it go. They let it go, and these goddamn kids, you know what they did? Instead of acting a fool instead of acting in a riot, instead of being hyper-hysterical, they decided to be a collective. They decided that they were going to share all the natural resources they had in that concert and dispense it to every concert goer out there. I'm not joking. And as a matter of fact, because the kids out there at Woodstock were acting civil and there was no kind of mass civil unrest, there was no massive situation that caused for a concern at Woodstock, that many of the New York upstate people, the New York farmers, and these were conservative people at the time, they felt compassion for the Woodstock kids. They didn't know why the police and I believe the National Guard, these people were creating a perimeter and preventing the kids from having any kind of resources to go in and out of there, food, water, any of that stuff. So what the Mr. and Mrs. Joe Sixpack did in upstate New York, the locals, the local farmers, what they did is that they, out of their goodness of their hearts, because they felt the spirit, they felt the spirit that Woodstock was giving out. All these kids were all, dude, we're sharing, it's free love, and it's free, we're sharing with each other. Believe it or not, if you take a look at Woodstock's movie, you'll see a bottle of wine go through the crowd. Everybody's taking a drink of the bottle of wine and passing it, taking it. It was sharing like that. Everybody's smoking a joint and everybody's passing it down. Everybody in 69, man, Woodstock was literally acting like a civil human being, and it impressed even the hardcore conservatives of upstate New York. And you know what the people did? They felt such compassion for these goddamn Woodstock kids that they themselves got yields of the crop that they created. In upstate New York, they created granola. And believe it or not, folks, this was the first introduction into mainstream granola consumption at Woodstock. Because what the farmers in upstate New York did is they gave granola to the Woodstock organizers so that they could equally distribute it out to everybody at Woodstock so they could have enough calories to continue on and no one would starve to death, etc. This was the first introduction into massive granola consumption, and that's why granola and hipster and leftism is synonymous with each other. Anyway, the reason I brought up Woodstock and the reason I went off on this long soliloquy is that you dumb socialists and communists aren't winning any brownie points with anybody. You aren't going to win anyone's hearts and minds acting a fool, acting ignorant, acting messy, selfish, etc. Especially when you've got leaders like Ocasio-Cortez, which is a cringe fest every time you hear this bitch talk. And to think that Ocasio-Cortez got a goddamn economics degree from Boston University, man. This fucking socialist, I'm a fucking bitch from the Bronx, bitch. I'm a girl from the Bronx, bitch. This fucking Ocasio-Cortez, believe it or not, has got an economics degree from Boston University. That had to easily cost her $300,000. Come on. Come on. Give me a freaking break. Anyway, folks, let me move on. I'm running out of time here. I went off on this tirade, but I hope that y'all gathered something from that discussion about Woodstock. And I strongly advise you all to take a look at that Woodstock documentary that was created by Martin Scorsese. It'll tell you all, it'll show you what was happening out there. And I'm telling you, that's why these boomers all believed in socialism and communism. That's why they did it. They were spoiled brats, too. Lest we forget, folks, the baby boomers were the most spoiled generation in American history. All right? That was the most spoiled generation in American history. Folks, they were the ones with the two-parent families. You know? They were the ones that got the nice Christmases. And why do you think that A Christmas Story, the movie A Christmas Story, is played 24 hours a day during Christmas time? Because most kids today, most young people, they don't have that type of family. They don't have that type of family tight-knit Christmas. Unlike the baby boomers, they had that and then some. And that's why I'm telling you, young people, I mean, y'all need to take your fucking obsessive-compulsive disorder, your anxiety, your goddamn autism, your Asperger's, and all these other mental ailments and shove them up your ass. Because as I stated time and time again, no one is going to give you a living. You got to earn a living. And it was the baby boomers, whether I agree with them or not, it was the baby boomers that stood up against the status quo at the time and were willing to die for what they believed in. And that's why, folks, they took control of the goddamn country in the late 70s and have never let go of power since. That's why I keep telling you, all you people that are a part of Generation X to the millennials, I mean, don't you find it rather insulting that these people, the baby boomers, are still in charge of you people? They're still in the leadership positions at the highest levels of corporations, at the highest levels of government, etc. And the reason is because they made it that way. I mean, let's be honest, okay? The baby boomers, the reason that they gave you everything as a kid, the reason that they're treating you like a man-child, the reason that they have no problem with you staying home and being a part of mommy and daddy's home until you're 40 or 50 is because, folks, they want you to change their bedpan. They want you to be their caregiver. Because, folks, what the baby boomers did to their parents, even though their parents gave them everything, and this is the World War II generation I'm talking about, even though they gave them everything, they still allowed their parents to go into the home. Are y'all familiar with the home? It sure as hell ain't no senior living place. They put their parents in the home to rot. While they were out there participating in their fucking bell-bottoms, doing a little dance, making a little love, getting down tonight in the 70s, and they were out there snorting cocaine off chicks' breastises out there in the 1980s. I mean, folks, the baby boomers have been living it up. They have been living it up throughout these whole years, and now that they're in their golden years, they're still living it up. You know, I'm surprised that, you know, there's any baby boomers that are still leaving their children anything anymore. They're bequeathing their children anything. You know, I saw a fucking commercial, and I've said this before, about selling your insurance policy. And what they do is they have these old baby boomer couple, like 70 years old, saying, I bought an insurance policy, but we've thought about letting it go. Our oldest is 40 years old. We no longer need the coverage. How the fuck do you know, Grandma? How the fuck do you know that your 40-year-old child, or maybe his child or her child, doesn't need the insurance policy once your ass croaks? But no, you know what the baby boomers are doing? They're selling their insurance policy that they were supposed to give their children. They're selling it away so that they can have more money, so they can go take some more trips on their retirement. Yeah, so they can still live more, huh? I mean, haven't you heard about all these dumbass financial instruments? I mean, not just selling your goddamn insurance, life insurance policy, but reverse mortgage. I mean, folks, this goes to show you that these damn fucking baby boomers aren't going to leave you a fucking thing, man. They don't want to leave you a thing. They're going to sell back their health? I mean, their fucking life insurance? They're going to reverse mortgage their property? I mean, what are they leaving you? They're leaving you with nothing. They're not even leaving you with the mental competence to be able to support yourself. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Anyway, we got 10 minutes left. Let me get through these two subject matters here that I needed to talk about today. Did y'all hear that the Secretary of State, Pompeo, announces to, quote, deepen engagement in Asia? Now, you all heard earlier about the foreign policy in the Middle East, about the United States trying to induce a war between Saudi Arabia and Iran, and you've also heard about how we're going to deal with Turkey. Well, let's talk about Asia's foreign policy. Because as I stated I stated that we were going to pit Iran against Saudi Arabia back in 2016, and in that same conversation, I said that the Asian foreign policy was going to be to suppress China. Now, China right now is trying to be the world superpower. If you Google up right now China 2025, they actually have a plan. At 2025, they expect to be the world's dominant superpower. Economically, militarily, politically, etc. I mean, hell, you've got China trying to pull for a world currency, and they want to be the ones printing it. So you've got China, full-fledged globalism. I mean, lest we forget, remember when Xi Jinping was talking at the World Economic Forum in Davos, Switzerland, back in 2016. I mean, if y'all have not seen that speech of Xi Jinping, the president of goddamn China, or the chairman, whatever the fuck he is, of China, if you haven't seen him give that speech at the World Economic Forum in 2016-17, you need to see it, all right? You need to see it, because he was saying that he and the Chinese will help bring in the age of globalism. I mean, he was basically licking the boots of all these globalists, claiming that China will be the country to bring in the dawn of globalism, for Christ's sake. And this is why our foreign policy has to be deepened in Asia to suppress China's ever-expanding economic, military, and political power. Now, obviously, there's many ways we're doing this. I mean, we've already rearranged our policy in Afghanistan. I don't know if y'all heard me last week, but the Taliban is in direct talks with the United States. So that means that the Taliban and the United States are talking, so that means there's going to be some way of integration of the Taliban in the current infrastructure of government, at the very least. Okay? Now that we have Taliban at the negotiating table, what does that mean? That means that we're going to be a little bit better off diplomatically with Pakistan. Because lest we forget that all the Taliban was a group of religious students that were educated in the madrasas of Pakistan. So the majority of the Talibanis are Pakistanis. And if we have direct contact with the Taliban, that'll give us a more favorable diplomatic footing with Pakistan. Now, why would we want to have a better diplomatic footing with Pakistan? First of all, they're a nuclear power. Secondly, they are on the border of China. And for whatever reason, China has been more buddy-buddy to Pakistan's arch enemy, India. And there's reason for China wanting to be buddy-buddy with India. First of all, I think China is scared shitless of India. And India knows this. They have a very competent head of state, Modi, who knows how to play all sides. I mean, he understands his current country's position. And he's playing it, he's playing his cards by the chest. I mean, lest we forget, folks, in 2016, we were on the verge of a potential war footing between India and China over the disputed area of Bhutan. And it had to take a meeting at the BRICS Summit. And if y'all don't remember the BRICS Summit of 2017, take a look at it. It is when China bowed down, fucking bowed down to India. Now, why are they bowing down to India? Because, folks, India, first of all, is a nuclear power. And secondly, India actually has more people for a population than China. So they could match man for man on a battlefield with China. China's not stupid. China doesn't want any war with a formidable adversary. Remember, this is the home of Sun Tzu out here. All right? So they're playing Sun Tzu type games with India. And in the BRICS Summit, when they quashed that Bhutan skirmish, they actually denounced Pakistan. I'm talking China. China denounced Pakistan as a harborer of terrorism. which is rather strange because during times of crisis, historically, Pakistan would literally side with the Chinese. And now the Chinese are butting up with Pakistan's notorious enemy. They've had 3 wars with India over the disputed area of Kashmir. I mean, it's always a disputed area with India. But, man, they've had a war with Pakistan 3 times. And now you've got China butting up to India. I know that doesn't leave a pretty good taste in the mouth of the Pakistanis, especially these jihadis. Unless we forget that China itself is starting to have an Islamic problem, the Uyghurs of China. Now, if y'all aren't familiar with the Uyghurs of China, I strongly advise you to look these guys up, because these are the guys that are going into Chinese elementary schools and literally, because there's no guns, there is no goddamn guns in China, they're taking knives and literally stabbing children, stabbing teachers to death. They're going on mass stabbings in China. And this has been happening here for the past couple of years. So, there's already starting a Muslim problem in China. Now, do you think that's a coincidence? I don't think so, okay? That's definitely CIA or deep state, or I shouldn't say deep state, excuse me, say black operations in action. All of a sudden, China has got a Muslim problem. I mean, that's deep state, that's black operations if I've ever seen it in my life. And because they have a Muslim problem, well, it would behoove us to try to get on a diplomatic footing with the Taliban and the nuclear power Pakistan. And not to mention, folks, we have a lot of Asian countries that hate China. They hate China. And why do they hate China? Because China, for the past 5 to 6 years, has been flexing its nuts on that artificial island it created in the middle of the South China Sea. And it's threatening the border sovereignty of a lot of countries out there. And I'm telling you, the majority of Asians in the Asian area of the world hate China. They don't like China. The Vietnamese hate China. The Cambodians, they hate China. The Japanese, they hate China. The Philippines, they hate China. So right now, our position as far as the United States foreign policy in Asia is to agitate the situation in Asia so that it can suppress China in a very isolated position. And we're already doing it with our economic trade war, folks. All right? I mean, like I said, we're already seeing the economic benefits, all right, well, I shouldn't say benefits, the economic destruction. It's benefit to America, it's a destruction to China. We are seeing the economic destruction of China the longer they try to play this game with the United States, claiming that they don't want to renegotiate the trade deals. Because as I stated, how is China going to offset the $600 billion, all right, the $600 billion that we send there on an annual basis in a trade deficit? Where are they going to get that $600 billion from? Where are they going to offset that $600 billion? They can't. So their house of cards is about to come tumbling down. And I'm telling you, I don't know if the Chinese government can continue to sustain itself if its house of cards of an economy comes tumbling down, folks. So I hope that you can kind of understand the United States' policy in Asia, and I hope that you now understand the United States' foreign policy in the Arab community. Because both of these foreign policies benefit America not only in the short term, but in the long term as well. Anyway, let me talk about this one last subject, and then we're out of here. Did y'all hear about London Stand's mayor, Sadiq Khan? He's under fire over his, quote, pathetic response to the surge in crime. Now, if y'all aren't familiar, it was none other than the former mayor, Boris Johnson, that wrote an op-ed literally chastising Sadiq Khan. And let me give you some of the things that he said about Sadiq Khan in this op-ed. He said, and this is Boris Johnson says, Sadiq Khan may be a twinkle-toed mover on the movie premiere red carpet, but his purettes, hold on, let me see how to say this. How do you say this word here? Tell you, these Brits, man, they like to talk all eloquent. Oh, yes, I know how to talk eloquent. Hold on, we're going to learn a new word here, folks. I don't know what the fuck word this is. Hold on, how do you say this? What's the definition? All right, how do you say it? Pirouette. That's how you spell pirouette? Pirouette. All right, pirouette. Pirouette is an act of spinning on one foot, typically with the raised foot touching the knee and supporting the leg. Okay? So once again, let's read this op-ed, a couple of excerpts of this op-ed from Boris Johnson again. Sadiq Khan may be this twinkle-toed mover on the movie premiere red carpet, but his pirouette on the subject of knife crime are a positive wonder. He blames funding when he was left with a large war chest by me, Boris Johnson. He blames the Tory government. He blames society. He blames everyone but himself. When it is his paramount duty to keep Londoners safe, Johnson wrote, it is a pathetic performance. Oh, man. And for you folks that don't know, I mean, this is what the president has put an emphasis on whenever you have these assholes trying to attack our Second Amendment here in America. When they try to say that we need to outlaw guns, that we need to take away guns away from law-abiding citizens, etc., this is what we're talking about out here. You outlaw the guns, they're going to kill people in other ways, folks. Not only do they have a very hardcore knifing problem in the UK, folks, they have a very bad acid attack problem. And if you don't believe me, Google up UK acid attacks and take a look at how many acid attacks there have been. I mean, it's ridiculous. And you know why? I have a lot of people from the UK that listen to me, and many of them are in my chat rooms. They tell me that acid, if you were to throw an acid attack on somebody under the law, that's not technically attempted murder. That is an attempt to maim. An attempt to maim can still allow you to have a decent sentence where you can be out in a few years. I mean, you can disfigure somebody's face completely with acid and be out in a few years. I mean, that's why you're seeing so many acid attacks, so many knife attacks. I mean, as of March, London accounted for 17% of all recorded crime in England and Wales. I mean, one city, almost 20% of the crime of the entire country. All right? As well as 42% of all robberies. 42% of all robberies in the UK happen in London. Can you believe this? Oh, my God. 17% of all recorded crime. That's 20% of almost all recorded crime. And 42% of all robberies just come from London itself. And folks, this erupted during the election or after the election of Sadiq Khan himself. And for you folks that don't know who the mayor of London is, it is Sadiq Khan, a pro-terrorist asshole. This just goes to show you how far left the UK has gone at this point when they elect a pro-terrorist jerk-off. Because the reason I'm calling him pro-terrorist is because, first of all, when he wasn't mayor, he used to be an attorney for these goddamn terrorists. And secondly, this idiot was the guy who said that, quote, terrorism is part and parcel with living in the big city. Yeah, this was Sadiq Khan, the fucking mayor of London, Stan. This is the son of a bitch that actually claimed that terrorism is part and parcel with living in the big city. So basically he's just saying, you've just got to get with it. You just got to deal with it. All right? It's part and parcel with living in the big city. Deal with it. All right? Don't blame Islam. Don't blame Islam. And speaking of acid attacks, folks, acid attacks have gone up more than 78% over the past 2 years. with 465 such offenses in 2017 and up to 2,060 back in 2015. So, I mean, they're going up and up, folks. They're going up and up. And this is in a country that has no guns. I mean, I don't even think their cops carry guns, for Christ's sake. I mean, give me a freaking break, folks, all right? And by the way, I mean, what's sad about this whole situation is the fact that we have London, or not just London, we have the UK, the entire UK, incrementally going towards a totalitarian police state. I mean, haven't you folks noticed, I'm talking to you UK folks, haven't you noticed that ever since y'all voted in Brexit, y'all have just incrementally gotten more and more into totalitarianism? I mean, I've heard here recently that almost, over 3,000 people in the UK have gotten visits from UK authorities if you happen to criticize any kind of MP or any policy of the government. I mean, they're listening to your internet. They're watching you on closed-circuit camera. You've got no guns. They protect the criminal from breaking into your home. I mean, what kind of liberal lunacy have you people accepted out there in the UK? What kind of liberal lunacy have you all accepted out there in the UK? And folks, guess what? That's not the only thing. Have you heard that the British Army is on standby for a, quote, no-deal Brexit? Oh, here it comes, folks. Here it comes. Y'all better be ready. This is actually, folks, this came out yesterday. The news for this came out yesterday. The UK Army is on standby for a, quote, no-deal Brexit disruption. Martial fucking law. Aside from incrementally bringing the UK into a goddamn totalitarian police state, they now have the army on standby for a, quote, no-deal Brexit disruption. So you can already kiss the UK goodbye as it pertains to any kind of Western freedom ever again. It's over. It's over, for Christ's sake, man. I mean, good God, they've got the army on standby. Why do they got the army on standby? So they could put everybody in their place when Brexit doesn't happen. Jesus Christ, man. I wish you goddamn anal object aficionado assholes would realize that out there in the UK, man. I wish that you'd realize it. Wow. Wow, this is the UK, folks. This is it. This is it right here. Oh, my God. Anyway, folks, that is it. All right, it's almost 7 minutes over the third hour. All right. But by God, we had to go through all these different variants of news out here because, by God, like I said, aside from getting the badass of business commentary about crypto and stocks, you get the straight political dope right here on True Capitalist Radio. And as I stated, folks, if you can't buy none of the merch, if you can't, just kind of throw some cryptocurrency into the cryptocurrency wishing well, then by God, the least you could do is spread this show around the internets like wildfire, right, folks? It's that damn simple, man. All right, we are live every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, 6:30 p.m. Central Standard Time, and the official website of the True Capitalist Radio is, all right, type this in your browser and add it to your bookmarks, add it to your favorites, ghost.report, all right? Ghost.report, all right? Anyway, folks, I want to tell you this, folks, all right? All right, we want to bring this show back 5 days a week, but we shall see what happens, all right? I mean, you guys really supported me this month of July. I really appreciate it. All you guys, we sent out the last autographs this past weekend. You should be able to get yours Props to everybody out there who got yours, man. I've got people in the True Capitalist Radio chat room framing their autographs, baby. I mean, that means the world, man. That is fucking awesome. That is awesome. Cheers to you guys that are out there that purchased the autograph. Cheers to you guys that are framing them, that appreciate it, man. That means the world, man. You don't even understand how much that means, man. But like I said, if you can't purchase the merch, if you can't, put in a little bit into the cryptocurrency wishing well, and believe me, I want to say thank you all. I'm telling you, I see every cryptocurrency wishing well throwing. I see them all. And the most recent one, we got two quantum from somebody who threw 2 quantum into the cryptocurrency wishing well. We also got I think another $8 in Ethereum. We also got we got a lot of stuff, maybe. And look, I appreciate it. And look, we're going to try to go 5 days a week here soon. And if we don't, I'm considering a Saturday night streaming session with retro games. I know I've said this time and time again, but I like retro games, man. I've been playing all these old school Nintendo games and arcade games. I like it. So either one, we're going to try to do something. We're going to extend the content. We got a lot of people requesting it. We got a lot of people demanding it, so we're going to see what we do. Nothing promised, but I definitely do want to go back to 5 days a week. 5 days a week was great. You get to stay up to the date on what the hell's going on, not just in the market, but in the straight political dope. So we're going to see what we can do here. We're going to see what we can do. But until then, folks, thank you very much for listening to me. Please follow me on Gab, folks. Politics Ghost, all one word, no underscores. Politics Ghost is the name to follow. And by the way, I'm going to be in the True Capitalist Radio chat room here in about 30 minutes. I got to do a couple of things first, and then I'm going to go head into the True Capitalist Radio chat room. If you want to come kick back with us, if you want to come chat with us, if you want to conduct some proverbial old internet tomfoolery or whatever it is that we do in there, come on down, baby. Come on down. All you got to do is go to my Gab account right now, Politics Ghost, all one word, no underscores, Politics Ghost, and hit the subscribe button for premium content, all right? Hit the subscribe button for premium content, and once you do, private message me on Gab and let me know your Discord chat name, and I will give you a private invitation to the True Capitalist Radio chat room. It's that damn simple, all right? It's that damn simple, man. Anyway, guys, I think you guys are great. I appreciate each and every one of you that listen to this broadcast. Whether you like me, whether you hate me, I appreciate you listening, especially now that I'm independent now. And they can't stop me. I know that there's a lot of leftists, there's a lot of communists, socialists, and autists that don't like Old Ghost. And they've been trying to take me down. They've been trying to break me down. But you know what? I'm still standing, huh? I'm still fucking standing. I'm still here. I'm still broadcasting. I'm still standing, huh? Huh? Suck it. Suck it. I am the underground. Don't you understand that, you pricks? I am the underground. Don't you ever fucking forget it. Don't you ever fucking forget it, for Christ's sake, man. I am the underground. You're goddamn right. Anyway, I'll be back here Wednesday, 6:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. Of course, right here on the official website of the True Capitalist Radio chat room, ghost.report. Ghost.report, it's that simple, man. Add that to your bookmarks, add that to your favorites. Anyway, I am out of here. You better be here Wednesday, 6:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. If not, you're a goddamn snowflake, pansy-ass, anal aficionado, a urinal cake curator, piece of garbage leftist, baby. Woo! I'm out of here. You better be here Wednesday. Death to feminism! Death to socialism! And death to communism! I'm out of here!